to you wherever you are. Fuel or lubricants, J.C. Lansdowne always delivers.
At Morris Levin & Son, they know everyone doesn't like to shop Black Friday sales. That's why they're having a Second Chance Saturday sale on December 10th. This is your chance to save big time on all the gifts you'll want to give or keep for yourself. 20% off all ammo, 20% off gun accessories, and 20% off all apparel like Ariat, Wrangler, and Carhartt. Get 15% off barbecue grills, smokers, and accessories, including Green Mountain Grills, Kamado Joe's, and Broil King. Shop 10% off lawn and garden power tools. You'll even save 10% off all firearms, including names like Sig Sauer, Kimber, and Christensen Arms. And make sure to check out their Yeti sale. Doors open with coffee and donuts and food demos starting at 11 a.m. It's the Morris Levin & Son Second Chance Saturday sale December 10th, where you'll save a ton of money. Doorbusters start at 6:30 a.m., so hurry in. Morris Levin & Son, your hometown hardware store since 1934. 1816 South K Street, Tulare, where you're treated like family.
Got what you need to get the job done. Morris Levin & Son.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Sunny and 56 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. An innocent bystander caught in a gun battle this morning in downtown Fresno. Around 9:45, police say a woman was outside a laundromat in a parking lot by California and Pottle when gunfire went off between two people and two others in a car. The woman was struck in the legs and taken to the hospital. Edison High School briefly placed on lockdown in the area. Police say that two men were seen running from the area, but they're not sure if they're suspects or just were trying to get away from the gunfire. The suspects are still at large. WNBA star Brittany Griner is now back in the U.S.
In the early morning darkness, the small private jet carrying Brittany Griner landed at Kelly Field, ending 294 days in the custody of Russian authorities who had arrested, charged, and convicted her of drug offenses. Griner insisted that she did not intend to pack a cannabis-derived vape oil in her suitcase.
I had no intent on breaking any Russian laws. I had no intent, I did not conspire or plan to commit this crime.
But she pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Now treated for a Russian arms dealer in U.S. custody, Griner has arrived back in her native Texas. Jim Ryan, ABC News, San Antonio.
The State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel says that Griner would be given whatever she needs to recover from her ordeal of spending nearly 10 months imprisoned in Russia.
We are now focused on ensuring that Brittany and her family's well-being are prioritized and that all available assistance can be offered to them.
The West Coast gearing up for one of the biggest storms in a very long time. From Seattle to San Diego, rain will be falling and lots of snow expected in higher elevations. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Drivers heading into places like Lake Tahoe and Mammoth, California are being warned this is going to be a big snowstorm. Heavy snow will be falling on Saturday and Sunday. 5 feet of snow and 60-mile-an-hour winds. The California Highway Patrol is warning freeways like I-80 into Tahoe will very likely be shut down. Getting in and out will be virtually impossible.
Health officials sounding the alarm on a triple-demic with rising cases of COVID, the flu, and RSV. Cases of flu-like illnesses are in the millions.
According to the CDC, 43 states as well as New York City, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico are seeing very high or high levels of influenza-like activity. At this time last year, New Mexico was reporting high levels, with all other states reporting low or moderate levels. Health officials have been urging Americans to get vaccinated. A CDC survey estimates 40% of adults and nearly 43% of children have already received a flu shot. Lionel Moise, ABC News.
Various California farm organizations, along with others from across the country, want lawmakers to take action on farm labor needs. We have the details from KMJ's Ag Director Don York.
An organization called the Agriculture Workforce Coalition urges the Senate to pass an agriculture labor reform bill. The goal is to provide a solution to the farm labor crisis impacting producers across the country. In a letter to the Senate, the coalition says even though the Senate is considering broader immigration proposals, senators are encouraged to include ag labor reform. The Ag Labor Coalition reminds us that American farmers are facing an onslaught of challenges, including weather events, regulatory tariffs, falling commodity prices, and a lack of enough labor. Don York, KMJ News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 305 points, closing at 33,476. The S&P 500 lost 29 points. NASDAQ dropped 77. Now here's Fox 26's Jim De La Vega with our Friday forecast.
Mostly cloudy today, then gradually becoming sunny with a high near 58 degrees. Tonight, the reverse of that, with clouds building back in and a 30% chance of rain overnight. The low, 45 degrees. A strong winter storm moves in this weekend. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Liz. Friday has finally arrived, and so are problems on the roadways. Southbound 41, south of Elkhorn, got a non-injury accident. Northbound 41, this time at Van Ness, a hit-and-run non-injury accident. And then on the streets, McKinley at Brawley, a non-injury accident. Los Banos, Lexington Avenue at Blossom Avenue, a no details hazard being reported. Next update, 217. I'm Greg Lane. KMJ Traffic.
Remember your first nice watch? Almost everyone does. Keep that tradition alive this year with a watch from Auric Carcasian Watch and Jewelry Company.
Beau Mercier, Seiko Presage, pre-owned Rolex, and more.
Auric Carcasian Watch and Jewelry Company, northeast corner of Bullard and West.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
206 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Friday installment of the program. Phones are open for your calls. 490-5858. Toll free 800-776-5858. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you'll find the show at Drive KMJ, and on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv, you'll also find the show at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as we check out the Daily Buzz question at KMJNow.com. It's brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. A really, really simple one for the weekend. Have you ever been the victim of a porch pirate? Let us know if you have been subjected to this scourge. Again, the buzz questions at KMJNow.com. And it's brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. Fortunately, knock on wood, I have not yet had that unfortunate experience. I got a couple of cameras that are in pretty plain sight as you approach the front of my house. I have no earthly clue if porch pirates are smart enough as a species to recognize a camera and understand that it will result in their likeness and possibly a description of their vehicle being made public. But I hope it helps. Goodness knows the blessed things are kind of expensive sometimes. I have thought about taking boxes because, of course, this time of year, I'm going to have stuff come in. Amazon orders will be arriving. So I've thought about being very mindful about how I open my boxes so as to ease the process of resealing a box after I've retrieved whatever it is I've ordered. And perhaps taking those boxes and filling them with, I don't know, old fruits and vegetables, household garbage, perhaps cleaning the cat box and dropping it in there, and then resealing it and leaving it on the porch. And I'm not sure. I believe somebody with a badge once told me, speaking of cameras in plain sight at the front of my house, excuse me, I believe somebody with a badge once told me that there was something in the law about using hazardous or biohazardous material. I don't remember. I can't recall the conversation, although I don't think that'll be admissible in my defense should I leave somebody a box full of used cat litter. And I would never encourage people to behave that way. It's disgusting. It's potentially criminal. And you should never take home security advice from an idiot disc jockey. I have no experience in the law. I barely have a high school diploma. I wouldn't take my advice about anything. But If every porch pirate in Fresno is living in fear that the next box they open is going to be full of something that they don't want to touch, it will slow some of them down. When the risk outweighs the reward, you will see a change in behavior. Because unfortunately, we can't rely upon the courts. We can't rely upon the laws of the land. Not at the fault of those guys and gals wearing badges, not at the fault of the district attorneys of our respective counties, but because Sacramento has effectively decriminalized criminal behavior in the state of California. So unless you've got a $900 box of leggings sitting on your front porch, nothing's going to get done about it. But if we start doing things, just a little passive resistance. Now, the other risk, and this is something to keep in mind, is if you mindfully open a box that contains a delivery that you intended to receive, so as to be able to reseal that box later to give the appearance of not having been yet retrieved. Your name and address is on the box, which means potentially you could have a problem with a crook coming back and raising a ruckus over the box full of something that's definitely not going to get you charged with some kind of bizarre assault crime. I don't know what the solution is, although I think that public stocks would be a good one. If you catch a porch pirate, put them in public stocks in front of City Hall. Let small children come by and throw rotten vegetables at them. Choose the number of days that they have to remain in the stocks based upon the ugliness of the theft. Because look, if a porch pirate comes up and they get the bottle of laundry detergent that I ordered, it's stupid, it's wrong, it potentially could have been something important, but it's laundry detergent. Nobody's going to get excited about that. Nobody cares about that. I barely care about that, and it's my laundry detergent. If it's Christmas gifts for your children, people are going to get upset. If it's medical supplies for an ailing parent, people are going to get upset about that. And so I think that you make the sentence in the stocks in public commensurate not with the actual dollar value of the theft, but with the level of outrage generated by the nature of the theft. Because again, nobody cares about my laundry detergent. But they may be very animated by finding out that one of these dirtbags stole your kids' Christmas gifts. Speaking of Christmas gifts, did you know this is the 75th anniversary of the Toys for Tots program? It is this year, 2022. It's 75 years of the United States Marine Corps and Toys for Tots. And we've got a Toys for Tots drive-thru event going on right now at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw at the KMJ studios. Got a bunch of Marines down there, Marine Corps League Detachment 14. You can't miss it. The KMJ vehicles are out there. The Toys for Tots vehicles are out there. I believe that they had like a troop transport, some big camouflage truck with a canvas canopy over the back of it, in order to collect your toys. And these guys are looking forward to seeing you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Come through southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. You can get into our lot from Shaw, from Palm, or from Harrison, which is the little side street that would connect you to Bullard Talent if that's where you were trying to go. Keep in mind that in very, very short order, there's going to be a whole lot of people trying to get in and out of Bullard Talent because it's pickup time on a Friday afternoon. We'd love to see you come down here with a new unwrapped toy and a cash or a check donation. If you aren't able to stop and make a purchase, that's okay. The Marines can make those dollars go very, very far, and we will be very, very grateful to have those dollars. So if you're unable to do the shopping, that's okay. I'm also going to grab the web address for you. So for those of you who are not able to join us in person today, you can hop online, you can make that donation, and we will gratefully accept whatever it is that you can throw on the pile. Toys for Tots, it's the 75th year of Toys for Tots, period. And I think it's the 8th or 9th year of the Toys for Tots drive-thru event at Radio City, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. We're catty corner from Fig Garden Village. That means we're right across Shaw from Honey Baked Ham if you're trying to visualize it. We'd love to see you down here, a cash, a check, or a new unwrapped toy. The Toys for Tots drive-thru is going to go on until 6 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to take a quick break here, get an update of traffic with Greg Lane. And when we come back, we're going to talk with Frank Percher from Fresno State about the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl ticket allocation situation. The Red Wave turned up and they bought tickets. They may have bought all the tickets allocated for Fresno. We're going to find out if that's the case or if there's going to be more opportunity for Bulldogs fans to get down and watch them play Saturday the 17th in Los Angeles. That's on the way on KMJ. Don't move.
Well, Philip, on the roadways right now on northbound 41 at Van Ness, got a hit-and-run non-injury accident there. In Los Banos, Lexington Avenue at Blossom Avenue, a no details hazard in the roadway. Next update is at 2:33. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex DM. Say goodbye to retaking medicine every few hours. Buy Mucinex DM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than typical 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicines. That's 3 times longer relief for chest congestion and cough. Nothing lasts longer. Among OTC cough and cold medicines, use as directed.
Amanda Nugent-Devine, licensed marriage and family therapist, CEO of Kingsview. Doom scrolling. More people are on social media than ever before since the pandemic. People are at home, and between politics and the pandemic, there is no shortage of toxic narrative and scary commentary to feast on. Doom scrolling is just that, scrolling through story after story or post after post of tragedy, disaster, pain, and loss. It is somewhat like the rubbernecking phenomenon where you can't look away from a horrific accident and then can't get it out of your mind once you've looked. It is no surprise that doom scrolling leads to anxiety and depression and a worsening of anxiety-based illnesses. What can we do about it? Recognize that not everything on social media or the news is factual. Limit your time reading news and social media. This is extremely important for our kiddos who are less able to place these limits on themselves. Turn off your alert notifications. Make sure you have a solid self-care routine. Find sources of news that reports what's right in the world. If you notice that you're feeling sad or anxious and need support, reach out for help. The Mental Health Minute with Amanda Nugent-Devine is sponsored by Kingsview.
I have to say this. I am personally astounded how the Glass Shop in Visalia continues to do everything right. They're making some amazing business decisions, and that's great for you. Okay, so what now? No tax whatsoever on any windows up until April 15th. That'll save you plenty right there, especially if you got a big job. No taxes. They'll front that bill with Uncle Sam. You don't worry about it. Next, Scott has become kind of a living legend in this business of windows and doors and all of this stuff. He needs a title, like, shall we call him the Wizard of Windows? When he comes to your home, he'll tell you before you even know what you need, and this is blowing people's minds. He'll tell you what type of window. He'll tell you what brand. Now, you ultimately make the decision, but this guy knows. And the Glass Shop has windows that have a double lifetime warranty. You sell your home, and whoever buys the home gets that warranty as well. And they'll get it done like in 3 to 4 weeks, where most companies take 2 to 3 months. Click theglassshop.com. It's that simple. The Glass Shop in Visalia. Click theglassshop.com. There you go. Tax-free, don't forget.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
2:18 on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl is coming. Fresno State is in it. And joining us now to help sort through fact and fiction about the status of available tickets, Frank Percher is a Senior Associate Athletic Director over at Fresno State. Frank, thank you for making time for us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So I understand that you guys reached out and tried to warn the folks behind the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl that the Red Wave was coming, and the Red Wave came and bought all the tickets already. Did they believe you when you expressed the level of interest that was coming?
Yeah, great question. And you're right. I think, last year was the first year of this bowl, and no offense to our partners at Utah State and Oregon State, but I don't think our fan base is quite the same as theirs. And so, for the bowl game officials to try and wade through, the do's and don'ts, I think now they're aware of what our fan base power is. And yeah, the original allotment was just over 2,000 tickets. Our fans bought through that in about 48 hours. And so that came and went. I also know that from a suite perspective, they only put several suites online, in the certain sections that our fans and Washington State's fans will be sitting in. Well, we not only sold through those, but our fans and our donors requested many more. So I think we're up to almost 25 suites have been sold for the game through Fresno State fans. So the Bulls frantically trying to get as much as they can online. We've requested more tickets. We got a few more as well. And those are almost gone as well. So I think they know now the power of the Red Wave.
So how many more tickets did they allot, and are we in danger of a sellout like by close of business today, or are you thinking that we'll still be able to get tickets over the weekend?
Great question. So for us, and the way the bowl works, they put a deadline on when they want to continue going through both institutions' ticket offices, and so that deadline is 10 a.m. tomorrow for us. And so fans we did get some more tickets. Fans could continue to buy through us and through our ticket office. They can go on GoBulldogs.com. That will run until 10 a.m. tomorrow, at which point we would still gladly help our fans, but we would direct them to the bowl games ticket website, which is through Ticketmaster. But we got another, little less than 24 hours to go here that we could continue to help our fans.
Frank, do you know, did they do any kind of geo-fencing on who is allowed to buy through Ticketmaster? Because I had seen a couple people fussing that they couldn't find it. They couldn't access tickets through that outlet.
That's a good question, and not to my knowledge, but it might be possible. I think they only opened up certain inventory for the bowl itself. I'm sure they had perhaps some sponsors and some, supporters or people down who have tickets consistently to SoFi Stadium. I'm sure they had to take care of them, and perhaps that's why they only opened up certain inventory for us. But like I said, that came and went, and now they're frantically trying to keep it accommodating our fan base. Not only is the Red Wave huge here in the Valley, we all know that. There's going to be a true Red Wave heading over the Grapevine here in a few days, but down in L.A., we have a ton of fans down in Southern California as well, and so I think those folks are buying as well.
That would make perfect sense, absolutely. Frank, for the folks who want to go, I understand this is really only the second year of the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, but are there any tips or advice you'd give folks who are thinking about going, besides, of course, if you want tickets, buy them now?
No, the alumni office here at Fresno State is putting on a pregame tailgate. The details of that you could find at FresnoStateAlumni.com. That'll be a good pregame fest. The team themselves is, of course, going to be busy with bowl prep that week, and there's a few activities down there. LA is not exactly a easy town to navigate as it relates to getting around for different fan fest opportunities or whatever. But I do know that our fundraising group, the Bulldog Foundation, is planning on doing some different activities that Friday night, I believe. So more information to come, but ultimately we'd say get down there, wear red, and be loud is the best advice I can give you.
And Frank, one more time, the website for folks who are interested.
Well, for our tickets, you could still go to GoBulldogs.com for the next 20 hours or so. And then if you're interested in that pregame tailgate through Fresno State's alumni office, that would be FresnoStateAlumni.com.
Okay, perfect. Frank, I really appreciate you making time. That's just about everything I wanted to know. And I look forward to seeing you down at SoFi Stadium.
Awesome. We appreciate it. Go Dogs.
That's Frank Poocher. He is one of the senior associate athletic directors for California State University, Fresno. And so now we know there are more tickets available. If you were frustrated by trying to buy through Ticketmaster, if you were disappointed to hear that tickets had sold out, they did get an additional allotment. I am fascinated to hear how they ultimately work out the suite situation, because there's going to be people at the venue who have a proprietary claim to the suites. Like if you've ever been to an event at Save Mart Center, for instance, there historically, if you wanted to get your hands on suite seating, you had to know somebody who owned a suite. And every once in a while, you'd have an owner who dropped out for one reason or another, or who surrendered a portion of a suite. or wasn't going to make an event, and they would return it to the venue to allow them to sell tickets for the suite. And so I imagine you're going to see the same thing here. And I would guess if you've got a suite for the venue, for SoFi Stadium, and you're interested in making a couple of bucks, the kind of folks who can afford the suites are the kind of folks who can afford the suites and a couple of bucks for a bottle of champagne to say thank you. But in any event, gobulldogs.com to get the game tickets, and check out the alumni site if you want to be a part of the alumni tailgate. That's going to be a party, man. It's going to be nuts. And Jimmy Kimmel's been hyping the hell out of this thing. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more from Washington State on this. It is Washington they're playing, right? Yeah. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a little bit more noise from that. I don't know if that's a geography thing or if that's it's Fresno and we don't mind going to LA, and we've got folks who wear red and white down in Los Angeles too. All right. Again, gobulldogs.com. If you want to get those tickets, they are back on sale, an additional allotment available for you guys. And don't drag your feet on that because they're absolutely going to sell out again. One more election update here. Melissa Hurtado, state senator, managed to hang on to her seat in the state Senate race between her and David Shepard. We knew this was close, and we knew this was going to be a squeaker. Ms. Hurtado, Democrat of Bakersfield, won the election by 20 votes. 2-0. Like not enough years on the calendar to buy beer. 20 votes. By percentage, she defeated Shepard by 0.07 of a percent. Alex Vassar sums it up like this. The youngest ever woman to serve in the California State Senate defeats a candidate who would have been the youngest state senator since 1951 in the second closest, by percentage, second closest general election victory in the history of the California state legislature. Hurtado, in her press release declaring victory, said, quote, I pledge to continue working for our valley, delivering funding for clean and reliable water supplies, keeping our schools and neighborhoods safe, combating fentanyl in our communities, and fighting for expanded access to health care, education, and good jobs for working families. So Kern County released their update Wednesday. That's going to be their final numbers. And it bumped Hurtado's lead from 12 to 24 votes. They didn't bother to seat anybody when the Senate convened for the new session at the beginning of this week. So yesterday was the last day for counties to certify. The Secretary of State has until December 16th to certify all the numbers fed to her. And David over at GV Wire makes the observation this is a much closer election for Hurtado than when she won her first term in 2018. So that was a different district. It was SD 14, but it was a much more Fresno County heavy district. And in that race, she beat Andy Vidak 56 to 44%. Much more decisive victory than this time around. I hope she continues to do her best to be a good steward for all of her constituents. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised with the balance of power in that district shifting further south. I'm a little surprised that it came out as Democrat-friendly as it did. But that was the headache between David Valadao and Rudy Salas, and really David Valadao and everybody who's run against him. The district at D22, as it is now drawn, it went for Joe Biden by like 11 points in the 2020 presidential election. It is a Democratic district. But Valadao continues to, and I think that a lot of it is that bipartisan compromise across the aisle attitude. He's not afraid to sit down with somebody like Jim Costa and try to find solutions. I think that's attractive to the centerists in that district. And I think it's attractive to the Democrats because they know they've got an adult in the room when it's time to talk money. And they've got somebody who's not going to go off and play culture war shenanigans when they're supposed to be working on the taxpayer dime. But Rudy Salas did announce, I think it was yesterday, he's announced he's going to run against Valadao again in 2024. That was the most expensive House race in the country. And almost all of the money that went into that was outside funding. It was PACs and super PACs and Nancy Pelosi laundering money down. And I think Congressman Valadao fundraised $3.5 million. Assemblymember Salas fundraised $2.5 million. And in a district that size, that population and that makeup, that should have been more than enough money to render a decisive victory. And the media spending, especially when you got down into the South Valley, it was like $15 million. It was insanity. I think it was Mike DeManuel Jr. who said, after the first $5 million, you're actually spending money just to annoy the people that you want to elect you. But Rudy Salas did throw his hat back in the ring. I don't know if it's too early, but time will tell. News time now. Here's Liz Kern.
KMJ News now.
2 Fresno residents are charged today for illegally possessing firearms. Court documents show 58-year-old David Mitchell was found with a gun and meth during a traffic stop in October. Officers found more meth in his house and text messages on his phone with drug deals. Mitchell had a prior conviction for felony petty theft. The DOJ says 43-year-old Victor Mata was also charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. He was previously convicted for felony transport of controlled substances. A felon in possession of a firearm can spend up to 15 years in prison and be fined up to $250,000 if convicted. The sentence for possessing meth with intent to distribute could be 10 years up to life in prison and a $10 million fine. Reaction from the UN's top human rights official to the first execution in Iran of a prisoner convicted of a crime allegedly committed during the country's ongoing nationwide protests. ABC's Tom Rivers is in London with world headlines.
In Geneva, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights calls the action
very troubling and clearly designed to send a chilling effect to the rest of the protesters. I can only call on the authorities to immediately institute a moratorium on death penalty.
Volker Turk plans to personally continue engaging with the Iranian authorities on the issue. Serbia's prime minister says the country's leadership is close to demanding the deployment of their security troops to Kosovo, claiming lives of minority Serbs there are being threatened. And Chinese leader Xi Jinping vows to import more oil and natural gas from the Gulf states, while not interfering in their affairs. I'm Tom Rivers at the ABC News Foreign Desk in London.
Def Leppard and Motley Crue are hitting the road for another co-headlining tour. The rock bands announced they'll be trekking across the U.S. in 2023 with Alice Cooper as a special guest. Joe Elliott of Def Leppard saying in a statement, "We had an incredible time playing the stadium tour in North America this summer, and we truly cannot wait to take the show around the globe." Motley Crue added in a joint statement, "Crew heads, get ready, because we have a few amazing U.S. dates set for you." On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 305 points. It's 2:33 at KMJ. Right now, sunny and 56 at Radio City. Fox 26's Jim De La Vega has our Friday forecast.
Today, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 58 degrees. Tonight, a few showers mainly north of Fresno County with a low in the mid-40s. A strong system will bring rain and mountain snow early Saturday morning through the weekend. Freezing temperatures are likely for much of next week. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Liz. Happy to report northbound 41 at Van Ness. There was a hit and run, non-injury accident. That accident is now clear and the roadways are back open. Next update is at 2:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SaveOurWater.com. California is in its third year of severe drought. Now more than ever, we need to save water. You can help by limiting your outdoor water use and switching to low-water plants. For water-saving tips, visit SaveOurWater.com. Save water. Save California.
You know the first floor at Crawdaddy's can get a little wild. When the crawdads kick it in and the crowd begins to rev up, it's like party time. The food, the service, the music, outrageous on that first floor. The legendary first floor of Crawdaddy's, a freestanding 3-story monument to all that is New Orleans. But maybe you are a bit more reserved. You'd like to quietly lay back in an opulent atmosphere with nothing but first-class food. An amazing long bar to satisfy your adult cravings. I recently took a very quiet table confined to a corner, had my favorite calamari appetizer with a lobster tail as the main entree. Very opulent, very relaxing, but at Crawdaddy's, it's the best of both worlds, the first or the second floor. Hey, you can always do both. You can go up to the second floor and relax with an incredible menu and that gorgeous atmosphere. And then you can go downstairs and rock until you blow your socks off. Crawdaddy's on Main in Visalia. And what's on the third floor? I'm never telling.
We do not have a homeless crisis. We have a poverty crisis, a trauma crisis, an addiction crisis, an abuse crisis. We have my dad introduced me to meth at the age of 12, and I've been hooked on it ever since crisis. We have I have been trafficked since I was 15 years old crisis. We have I didn't choose this life crisis.
Give hope. Give to the Fresno Mission.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall, well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Dinosaur angry, must stay in cold cave.
Me fix that.
What it is?
Fire?
Warm. Here, take picture of me and fire.
There.
Where picture?
Right here on tiny screen.
No, where's print?
No print. Digital camera.
Got no print. Got no picture.
Here, I draw it on wall for you.
No more room. I want professional print.
From where? This Stone Age.
Turn on radio.
Visit Horn Photo because we can make beautiful prints from your phone or camera.
Horn Photo.
Okay, go get prints at Horn Photo, then stop by River.
Why stop by River?
Your loincloth on fire.
Visit us today at hornphoto.com or our beautiful store in the Villaggio, Blackstone and East next to Sierra Nut House. Got the picture?
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Where can you wrap up your holiday shopping and unwrap the holiday spirit? Lowe's, actually. Explore the wonder of Winterfest at Lowe's. Plus, find unbeatable deals like the Google Nest Smart Thermostat, now $89.99. Offer valid through 12/24 while supplies last.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
You're worried about the economy. Inflation is high. Your paycheck doesn't cover as much as it used to, and we live under the threat of a looming recession. And sure, you're doing okay, but you could be doing better.
The Afford Anything podcast explains the economy and the market, detailing how to make wise choices on the way you spend and invest.
Afford Anything talks about how to avoid common pitfalls, how to refine your mental models, and how to think about how to think.
Make smarter choices and build a better life.
Afford Anything, wherever you listen.
Teresi. Streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
Rolling through your 2 o'clock hour. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. The Toys for Tots drive-thru event is underway right here at the KMJ studios. Radio City is at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. Caddy corner from Fig Garden Village. We're directly across Shaw from Honey Baked Ham. And you can get into our parking lot from Shaw, from Palm, or from Harrison. And the Marines are out there standing by to collect your donation of a new unwrapped toy or two. You can also drop off cash or a check, and it is all greatly appreciated. Something to keep in mind when you're making a donation like this. Toys for Tots serves kids in our community. When you make a donation to Toys for Tots in Fresno, you are donating to kids in Fresno. They don't pack it all up and send it to a warehouse in Sacramento. It doesn't get shipped around the country. It stays right here in our community. And if you're not sure what to buy, we're going to get a couple of the Marines up here a little bit later this afternoon to talk about what they've got so far and what they need. And oftentimes the answer is cash, because the Marines have a bunch of partnerships, and they can take those dollars and, one, they can stretch them as far as they need to. Two, they know exactly what it is that they need. They know where the shortfalls are in those donations. So if you don't have time to go shopping, that's okay. We still want to see you, and we are going to be grateful and pleased. And I can't think of a better way to start the weekend than with a bunch of Marines waving and saying thank you as you take off to pick the kids up from school or grab dinner or whatever it is you're going to do with your Friday night. Come on by. Toys for Tots drive-through event continues until 6 o'clock tonight, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. If you're sticking it in your GPS, that's 1071 West Shaw Avenue. Brittany Griner is now back on American soil. She is, as I understand it now, in Texas, being debriefed on her experience, being checked over by physicians and psychologists, and being given time and peace to recuperate from an unbelievable ordeal. I know there's people who dislike Brittany Griner and who disagree intensely with her politics and her personal choices. I'm not here to argue those disagreements, that frustration. I'm not. Bringing Americans home who have been unlawfully and unreasonably detained by hostile foreign governments is the right thing to do, period. It is the right thing to do. This merchant of death that they traded for Brittany Griner, I'm hoping, and I think that our intelligence community has the forethought for this, even if our current presidential administration perhaps might not think of it. As Brittany Griner is today, sitting and talking with folks from our intelligence community, because they're going to ask her about every moment of the experience. They're going to ask her, did you have the vape cartridges or not, Miss Griner? Because she's so far beyond being in trouble for maybe or maybe not having some THC. It's not going to be an issue. Did you have them or not? When they arrested you, did they give you a translator? Did you understand what was happening? The attorney that they brought you, did he communicate with you? And it's going to be every step. And they're going to ask her about the utensils she was provided to eat lunch with. They're going to ask her about stamp markings on the cafeteria trays. They're going to ask her what kind of soap. They're going to ask her about water temperature. They're going to ask her if the engine of the vehicle that transported her from the courthouse to the undisclosed location gulag that the Russians said she was going to spend a decade doing hard labor in had a knock or a bad lifter. They're going to get that granular and that detailed, because Brittany Griner has now survived an experience that very, very few people experience, period, but certainly survive. The intelligence apparatus of this country is going to be able to find something in the information that she shares that is of value, and it may be very minor. She's a basketball player, not a spy. So her attention to detail, her clarity of thought while she's panicking over the possibility of dying in Siberia might not be all that it could be. Our intelligence folks they're going to get every morsel from her. And they're going to find something in there that's useful, that's interesting, that gives us a new direction through which we can analyze and interpret Russian behavior in a variety of contexts. The Russians are going to do exactly the same thing with the Merchant of Death, Victor Bout. Where were you arrested? How many people arrested you? Were you tased? Did you surrender? Were you provided a translator? Did you have an attorney defending you? And again, all the way out to were there stamp markings on the cafeteria trays? Do you remember the brand of the handcuffs that they used? What direction was your jail cell facing? They're going to ask them all the same questions, trying to glean information about our military and our penitentiary systems. Because somewhere in there, Victor Bout probably saw or heard something that will be of interest. Because if there's anything that the Russians have learned to do prior to the fall of the USSR, it's process information. What I'm hoping is that our intelligence community thought of that. And that given the opportunity to quietly, subtly feed in misinformation to this guy, they put something in his head that's going to sound important, interesting, relevant, actionable. And it's going to be completely bunk. I hope that's what they're doing. It's what I would do. But, interestingly, Paul Whelan, if you can believe this, Paul Whelan did an interview with CNN today on the phone. Puzzle that out. We will have that conversation when we get back. Also, Paul's brother talking with one of our affiliates back east. We're going to hear from WBAP's Rick Roberts, who sat down with Paul's brother David for a little more in-depth conversation about how the family is feeling, seeing Brittany Griner back on American soil, while Paul continues to serve a very long, almost, I believe it's a 16-year sentence in a Russian prison. And Mario, I see you there. We'll get to your call as well. It's the Afternoon Drive. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Phone's open for you. 490-5858 or 800-776-5858.
And on the roadways right now, I want to remind you that Chestnut Avenue between Beheimer and International Avenue is still closed. They're doing street widening, and they'll be doing that till after the holidays, and they have alternate routes set up. Southbound Interstate I-5 is reduced to one lane just south of Panache Road and to just north of Manning. They are doing some road construction there, and that'll be going on through 10 o'clock tonight. Our next update happens at 3:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Lon Hanna here with Evans Feed Christmas one-stop shopping trip. Steal a deal on all their steel products like Black Friday black pipe panels, gates, and water troughs up to 20% off. Candles, jewelry, and cute clothes for that special lady. Toys and the cutest boots ever for little cowpokes. Hats, coats, boots, pet and show supplies, rain gear with discounts galore in store. At Evans Feed, you shop, they'll wrap, well, maybe not the steel. Evans Feed in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville. Merry Christmas.
It's Chris Daniel for Unwired Broadband. Still living in the country for 14 years with Unwired. Why would I leave? Why would I not avail myself to the service you could get in the cities that isn't provided to people who choose to live in the country? Why would I put myself through sketchy satellite service? Why would I put myself through gouging rates just because they could get a signal to my house from space? I never wanted satellite internet anyway, and Unwired isn't. I get unlimited data, guaranteed speeds, it's great for streaming and gaming, and it's all fast, affordable, and reliable. And none of those stinking hidden fees either. Don't get held hostage by people who think and act like you don't have a choice in internet service if you choose to live somewhere out there. And it's more than just my house. What about your farm? What about your enterprise? What about your job that depends on ag? Unwired checks all the boxes. Unwired broadband. Call 559-261-4444 or go to getunwired.com. Get Unwired.
Hey, boss, our stupid steam cleaner's busted again.
Well, have you tried calling A&E?
I didn't buy it from A&E.
Doesn't matter. A&E can get it fixed, no matter where you got it from.
Good to know. And hey, in that case, what about my little pressure washer at home? Think they'll fix that up?
That little thing you got at the box store that you use on your patio? No, they don't do that. They specialize in industrial, commercial pressure washers, the big stuff that gets work done.
Yeah, kind of figured that. You know, my steam cleaner's kind of old and in pretty bad shape. I'm not sure it's really worth fixing.
Just let them know. They'll actually come to you and give it a look. If it's worth saving, they'll fix it up. If not, they have some specials going on right now, and they're packed with new inventory, so you won't have to wait.
A&E Pressure Washers on the 99 between North and Cedar, just south of Kuchenbecker Tractor. Look for the Big Blue sign. For water recycling systems, steam cleaners, and of course, pressure washers, give A&E a call at 275-3891 or visit aefresno.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Want to know if you're a match for your partner? Psychic Rebecca at Spiritual Insight can help you find out through palm tarot and psychic readings. Call Rebecca at 559-260-6830. Readings are personal and confidential from the convenience of your own home, revealing your past, present, and future, love, marriage, business, romance, career, answering all questions and giving advice on all problems. Call Rebecca at 559-260-6830. Specializing in reuniting love. Call 559-260-6830.
Start your morning with news and the truth. Fresno's Morning News, 6 to 9 a.m. on KMJ and streaming at KMJNow.com.
Rolling up on 3 o'clock on your afternoon drive. It's News Talk 580. 105.9 KMJ worldwide. You can listen at KMJNow.com. Talking about Brittany Griner coming back to the United States, and there's a lot of folks out there who are frustrated, and understandably so. You've got a reasonably successful athlete who may or may not have transported weed, THC vape, into Russia, where if she did it, and I'll be honest, I'm still not convinced that she did it. But if she did it, she knew better. Meanwhile, we've got a guy like Paul Whelan. He's a retired United States Marine who has now spent years in Russian custody and is, I think, 2 years into a 16-year sentence. I'm torn between the Griner case. In some ways, has been helpful in that it has shined a light from an unusual perspective onto an issue that is not new. And sharing that frustration of I don't want to see, especially our veterans, left behind, period. Mario's on the phone at 490-5858. Mario, what's your take on this, dude?
Yes, sir. I'm not very happy with this. I'm a retired Vietnam vet, okay, and I am black, okay, but I love my country. And this just shows you exactly what the priorities of this administration is. My problem is this lady doesn't even know about the flag, okay? There's two flags. One is an American flag, the Union Army. Another one is a rebel flag, the Confederacy. She doesn't know the difference, okay? The American flag freed the slaves. The Confederacy flag wanted to put black people in slavery. And my problem is this lady, she doesn't, open up her books and study the history of this country. Now, I've served my country, and I'm very upset, and a lot of these veterans that I know, okay, they're very upset too, because they're leaving a Marine who served this country, took an oath, okay, to serve his country, and now they're taking a so-called superstar who's a lesbian, okay, and now she's home.
I'm not sure who she sleeps with has to do with anything, but Mario,
it has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying, she couldn't do that in Russia.
Well, and I agree with you. Russia would not have allowed that, and all the better that she's not there anymore. Again, Mario, I share your frustration, and I don't know that it strikes me as any kind of a salve to our shared frustration that the White House made it perfectly clear that this was not a one or the other conversation. The Russians are trying to extract a much higher price for Paul Whelan, and he simply wasn't on the table in this conversation. That said, I believe that the attention that's been generated by this story has shined a light on Whelan that previously simply wasn't there. I appreciate the call, man. I do have to go. We've got an update of headlines coming with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom. We are going to continue this conversation because there's a lot to unpack. And we're going to hear from both Paul Whelan himself and his brother about their feelings on the situation, their expectations for the United States State Department as far as getting Mr. Whelan back home. 490-5858, 800-776-5858. It's the afternoon drive on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon, and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Clean and healthy water is essential. To live your best life, get a LifeSource whole house water system. LifeSource removes bad stuff like chlorine and keeps the good stuff like healthy minerals. You'll look and feel your best with softer skin and hair. Love your water, love your life. And a LifeSource system is maintenance-free. For a limited time, LifeSource will pay your sales tax. Yes, zero sales tax. Call 559-330-1850 or LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
By now, you've heard the news. Vaccine boosters are available for eligible Californians. Boosters support stronger immunity and help maximize protection against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. That's myturn.ca.gov. Stay healthy and strong. Get boosted. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention parents with a child diagnosed with autism or severe ADHD. A recent congressional study found dangerously high levels of toxic heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic in many popular baby food brands. Brands such as Gerber, Plum Organics, Beech-Nut, Walmart, and more. Some contain toxic metals 200 times the maximum safe levels set by the FDA. Heavy metals in baby food are known to be severe neurotoxins, and exposure to them at a young age can cause lifelong brain damage and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you fed baby food to your child and they were later diagnosed with autism, autism spectrum disorders, or ADHD, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call today for your free consultation. 800-728-1993. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-728-1993. That's 800-728-1993. Again, 800-728-1993.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. Will you be traveling to see family and friends this holiday season? There's an updated COVID-19 vaccine that helps protect against the newer variants. If you are older or have a chronic condition, you are at greater risk. If it's been more than 2 months since your last shot, or 3 months since you had COVID, you should get the shot. It's easy and free to you. Learn more at covidvaccineproject.org. That's covidvaccineproject.org.
Celebrating a century of broadcasting. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A woman who police say was an innocent bystander is shot, caught in a gun battle this morning in downtown Fresno. The suspects are still at large. KMJ's Liz Kern reports.
It was around 9:45 in the morning in a parking lot by California and Pottle, just down the street from Edison High School, which was briefly placed on lockdown. Fresno police say the woman was next to her car outside of a laundromat when gunfire broke out between 2 people standing and 2 people in a car. She was struck in the legs and taken to the hospital. Police say her injuries are not life-threatening. 2 men were seen running from the scene, but police are not sure if they were involved or running from the gunfire. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
An investigation is underway after a woman hit by a car in Selma. Police say the crash happened yesterday near the intersection of Floral Avenue and Wright Street. The woman taken to the hospital. The driver stayed to speak with the investigators. Authorities said drugs and alcohol don't appear to be factors in the crash. Organizers with Kids Can Sing say they want to spread some holiday cheer. Fresno Music Group has about 50 students who range from 1st to 8th grade. The Jingle Bell Jukebox is a 50s-themed holiday event. It's scheduled for Friday, December 23rd. The organization performs for local retirement homes and gatherings. As health officials sound the alarm on a triple-demic with rising cases of COVID, the flu and RSV cases of the flu-like illness are in the millions. ABC's Lionel Moyes reports.
According to the CDC, 43 states as well as New York City, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico are seeing very high or high levels of influenza-like activity. At this time last year, New Mexico was reporting high levels, with all other states reporting low or moderate levels. Health officials have been urging Americans to get vaccinated. A CDC survey estimates 40% of adults and nearly 43% of children have already received a flu shot. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
There are several holiday events happening across Fresno County this weekend. The annual tree lighting at the Mariposa Plaza in downtown Fresno will take place from 5 p. to 7 p. tonight. Tomorrow, the Jingle Bell Run for the Toys for Tots kicks off at 9 a.m. And all weekend long, the Fresno Chaffee Zoo will host their new Illuminature experience. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Mostly cloudy today, then gradually becoming sunny with a high near 58 degrees. Tonight, the reverse of that, with clouds building back in and a 30% chance of rain overnight. The low, 45 degrees. A strong winter storm moves in this weekend. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Fresno, on North Fresno Street at East Ashland, we got a non-injury accident just occurring. In Hanford on State Route 43 at Kansas Avenue, another injury accident there. Our next update is at 3:17. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Tradition, a treasure that lasts for generations. An ice sparkling gift for Christmas is a great tradition.
I'm Ara Carcasian. Our tradition of the best selection, value, and real customer service continues.
Ara Carcasian Jewelers, northeast corner of Bullard and West.
Teresi. Streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
304 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. It's your afternoon drive. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free 800-776-5858. We will get back to Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan in just a couple of minutes here. But right now I am joined in the studio by Staff Sergeant Stefan Hicklin. He is a United States Marine, and he is a part of the Toys for Tots drive going on downstairs, 1071 West Shaw, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. You guys have been out there since 9 o'clock this morning. How's it going, Staff Sergeant?
It's actually been very consistent. So many great people in Fresno have responded and have been coming out to assist us in our need. And it's just a wonderful time for us and our staff to be out there to collect up all of the toys.
Something that I've learned over the years of working with the Marines and Toys for Tots is that every year there's a void somewhere in toy collection. And it's just from year to year, it might be girls from 4 to 6 or 15-year-old boys. But there's a category that just gets missed by chance. Do we have a void that folks should think of if they're going to stop and buy something?
Yes. Right now, it's boys and girls from the ages of 8 to 12.
Okay.
So, yes, I know most people typically see Toys for Tots and they think of the younger kids, but we often do have a need for the 8 to 12 and sometimes a little older than that.
My youngest is now 15 years old and is just a very science and psychology, just the kid's on a law track and not a kid anymore. What does one buy for an 8-year-old? What's an ideal toy if somebody's looking for an 8-year-old boy or girl?
Oh, I actually think you hit the nail on the head. Most kids are very inquisitive around the ages of 8 to 12 and trying to find themselves and that sort of fit in. And most of the time we get requests for things of science. Believe it or not, we get requests for arts, things of that nature.
Yeah.
As they get obviously in that age group, and they're just getting a little more inquisitive and expanding their consciousness of education, and that's where we kind of try to point them in.
See, now you guys can serve two purposes here. You could drop off crystal radio kits. Kids get to learn about science, and they learn to listen to KMJ. Now, I also know that cash is a big part of this because no matter how many good people show up and drop off toys, no matter how diligently people think about where the gaps might be, there's always going to be one more kid who needs something. And Toys for Tots and the Marine Corps have become very well connected with making those dollars stretch. For people who want a mental image of what a good donation is, if somebody's, maybe they're a little strapped and all they know is they want to help one kid have a better Christmas. What's the bottom line? Is it $5? Is it $10? What's appropriate?
You know, first let me say that being a Toys for Tots recipient, I'm very passionate about this program, and I try to explain to so many people when they say things like, "I'm not sure if I was able to donate." I said, the fact that you are aware, it may not be able to happen for you this time, but in answer to your question, I don't try to put a dollar amount on this because it's a collective thing where we are able to, our purchasing power is considerably better than that of the average person going into, say, one of the local shopping stores. Our vendors, we have a very good relationship with them from a national standpoint of view, so we are about 3 times the purchasing power. So what you would normally go out and buy something with, we would probably be able to do 3 times that.
That's fantastic.
So the dollar amount, the cash donations are often fantastic for us. It does give us a lot more latitude in being able to get the toys to where we need them to be in whatever age group that is. But by all means, please, even if you just feel that it's $1 or you just want to come out and shake hands, I will be out there and happy to greet you.
Now, if you aren't able to join us down here at Radio City today, and again, the Marines are downstairs. They're hanging out southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. That puts you catty corner from Fig Garden Shopping Center, puts you right across the street from Honey Baked Ham. If you're not able to join us, there's a website, fresno.toysfortots, and it's spelled out, F-O-R, toysfortots.org. I'm going to post the link up, so if you guys don't want to take the time to type it all out, you can just click on it and go. So look for that in a minute on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ, but fresno.toysfortots.org. And I think that one of the things that sometimes crosses folks' minds, not out of stinginess, but just out of a concern for their home, their community. When people donate to Fresno Toys for Tots, what's the geography that their donation works within? This isn't getting sent to Sacramento. This isn't getting sent back east.
That strictly stays within the Fresno County area here. All those dollars, all those donations stay within the county area. We do service part of Madera County, but it is a separate account. So that way, you don't have where Fresno City and citizens are all a little concerned as to whether or not it's going out of the city. In all fairness, they are quite separate, and that's how we see to it that those dollars stay within our community.
Now, you had mentioned that you yourself had been a recipient of a Toys for Tots gift.
Yes.
By the way, guys, this is the 75th anniversary of the Toys for Tots program. I know that the program has to have evolved some since we were kids. But for somebody who can't quite picture it in their head, they're dropping off a new unwrapped toy, they see the big boxes, they see the big truck, they know at some point that's going to land in a kid's hands.
Absolutely.
For the kids who are going to show up in the days leading up to Christmas, or for the families who are going to show up on behalf of kids, what's that process like? Is there just a big party and a Christmas tree, or is it is the toy going home to be found on Christmas morning?
Well, basically what happens is we have our partners who are all 501c3 organizations. Prior to our campaign beginning, we will have them go through orientations. Those 501c3 organizations are the ones that are actually registering the families for us. And what happens is when a toy is dropped off, that toy is basically categorized by age, gender, and it's put into a box, it's taken to our warehouse, and from our warehouse, we will further separate those toys and make sure that they are in the designated boxes that they're supposed to be in.
Sure.
And what will happen is those partners that we've already set through our organizations and our orientation will end up coming in and picking them up. So let's say they had about 500 toys. They would come in, and then those toys are taken and by family separated. And then on the day in which they are designated to come pick the toys up, that's what happens. It goes to the parents. The parents then can wrap that toy and place it underneath the tree.
I know Ryan was calling to ask if they got like a wrapped package and it was just, here's category X15, good luck, Merry Christmas.
Not exactly that way. Now, we do have a wait list. And so what would happen in that case is they would register with our wait list for those people who may not have known about, the dates in which they were supposed to register. They are offered an opportunity where we will personally hand out those toys. So what would happen is you would register on our wait list, and then, of course, we will give you the time and the place for the designated handout, and then they would come in, stand in line, receive. We have them in our list of our registry. They will come in. We know what it is exactly that they requested as far as the age and the gender. They don't get to select the toy.
Sure.
So our staff will fill those orders, and then we will hand those out as well.
I understand that in an operation like this, it's impossible to take Santa's list and get precisely what every single child is asked for, and that's why you're categorizing age, gender, something like that. I was never a sports kid. I never had an interest in baseball or football or anything like it. It just wasn't my bag. I was books, I was science. That was my wheelhouse. Can a family talk to their partner organization and say, hey, Timmy loves baseball. He's not going to sit down and read a Madeline L'Engle novel, but he will absolutely go out and play ball. Can they get that granular at that level?
At my level, no, but at the level of our community partners, they very well can, because once the toys arrive to them and they are separated, if they have a specific toy, for example, I had a young man who literally looked very unhappy when I gave him a toy. And I asked him why was he so sad? And he said, I was really hoping that I would get books, which I was so proud of. And here I am sitting in a room that's got a ton of books. So literally, I'm going to walk him in and let him pick out whatever books he wanted. So he picked up science books. He picked up math books, books of animals. And I was just so proud. It was one of the most proudest moments I can ever recall in dealing with this program. But yes, to answer your question, it can get to that level. Sure. If our partners are that much in tune with the desires of an individual family, yes, it can happen.
Staff Sergeant, we got just a minute left here, but there's the big numbers. What are the goals for this year in terms of collecting new unwrapped toys, in terms of a goal for cash and check donations? What are the goals and what's the progress look like at this point?
We typically try to set the bar as to what we did last year, for example. Sure. And if we're looking at, let's say, 60,000 toys over last year, which is a very considerable number, especially coming out of the pandemic, that's where we try to gauge it. We're thinking that it's going to be at that or possibly even more. So when our partners start sending us the requests, those numbers start to climb really fast, and depending on that category, that's when we start getting out there and trying to somehow or another fill that age group or that gender group of which we're looking for. But to answer the question as far as is there a direct number or for cash or donations, it will all of it, I can assure you, will be returning back to this program. We try to be just good stewards with, you're entrusting us with your funds. So naturally, we're going to do everything we can to make sure every single dollar gets back. But, to someone's dismay, I'm sure they're going to say, well, what are you spending money on? Well, we get to about 98.2%, somewhere close to that, of every dollar goes right back in. Of course, we have to have pencils and paper and that sort of thing. But, the public has trusted us, and Fresno has been so generous in so many ways in responding through KMJ to help us, to assist us, that we're just trying to do the responsible thing.
When you and your fellow Marines come out to participate in this is a volunteer activity for you guys, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100% voluntary. No one, they're not paid for anything. They pay for their own gas, their own food. If it rains, they go out and buy their own jackets. But, being the tough Marines we are, we're not going to wear jackets, right?
Not in California. Staff Sergeant, I really appreciate the update, and I hope that folks continue to come through and see you. If you would like to meet Staff Sergeant Stefan Hicklin, he is here. Are you here until 6?
Yes, sir, I am.
I'm going
to be here.
He's going to be downstairs, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw at Radio City, collecting your donations. New unwrapped toys, especially if you've still got shopping to do. Boys and girls ages 8 to 12. And science toys are very welcome. Books are very welcome. Anything in that demographic is very welcome. If you don't have time to shop, don't forget, they can make that dollar go. Excuse me. They can make that dollar go a long ways. So don't feel bad about stopping by and dropping off a couple of bucks, dropping off a check, because it's going to stay in Fresno. It's going to go to the kids. You said like 99.2%.
98.2.
98.2. 98.2% of every dollar that gets donated is going right back to the kids. And that's, believe me, go to Charity Navigator and look. Nobody hits those numbers. Staff Sergeant, I really appreciate you stopping in this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Southwest corner of Palm and Shaw, it is the Toys for Tots drive-through event at Radio City. You can get in from Palm, you can get in from Shaw, you can get in from Harrison. It is the 75th year of the Toys for Tots program. We would love for you to be a part of it. And if you want to donate online, again, that address is fresno.toysfortots, spelled out F-O-R, toysfortots.org.
Couple of problems on the roadways in Hanford, State Route 43 at Kansas. They're dealing with an injury accident. Some road blockage also being reported. Fresno on North Fresno Street at Ashland. Look for a non-injury accident at that location. Next update is at 3:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Do you have a pet with a medical need? Call Caring for Creatures Veterinary Hospital at 559-997-1121 or visit kkvetservices.com. Caring for Creatures Veterinary Hospital was voted Best Vet Hospital in Kings County 2022. We see all species, from small domestic animals to exotics. If your pet has fur, feathers, or scales, we care for them all. Call today, 559-997-1121.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Cumulus Radio in Fresno is looking to hire an account executive to represent our radio brands and digital platforms. If you have a background in marketing and advertising and have a passion for helping local businesses grow their footprint in our market, we may be a good fit for you. You will work directly with local clients and help diversify their marketing initiatives across various organized platforms. The ideal candidate will be creative, social media savvy, progressive digital mentality, and fun to work with. Please send your resume to General Sales Manager Melissa Del Carlo at melissa.delcarlo@cumulus.com. Cumulus Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Want to know if you're a match for your partner? Psychic Rebecca at Spiritual Insight can help you find out through palm tarot and psychic readings. Call Rebecca at 559-260-6830. Readings are personal and confidential from the convenience of your own home, revealing your past, present, and future, love, marriage, business, romance, career, answering all questions and giving advice on all problems. Call Rebecca at 559-260-6830. Specializing in reuniting love. Call 559-260-6830.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
You're worried about the economy. Inflation is high. Your paycheck doesn't cover as much as it used to. And we live under the threat of a looming recession. And sure, you're doing okay, but you could be doing better.
The Afford Anything podcast explains the economy and the market, detailing how to make wise choices on the way you spend and invest.
Afford Anything talks about how to avoid common pitfalls, how to refine your mental models, and how to think about how to think.
Make smarter choices and build a better life.
Afford Anything, wherever you listen.
It's 3:24 on your afternoon drive, the day of the Toys for Tots drive-through event. It's happening now. Radio City, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. Come on by, drop off a new unwrapped toy. Say hi to Staff Sergeant Hicklin. He's going to be down there until 6 o'clock with his fellow Marines collecting your donations. And again, if you got time to stop and do a little shopping, boys and girls ages 8 to 12, right now, that's the void. I told you guys, every year there's a spot, and it evolves from year to year. That's the spot this year. And if you don't have time to shop, cash and check is gratefully welcome. And if you don't have time to come by, Fresno.toysfortots, spelled out F-O-R, Fresno.toysfortots.org. Hop online, make that donation. And remember, even when you make the donation at the website, that money is going to serve kids here in Fresno County. 75 years of Toys for Tots, and I am so pleased we get to be a part of it every year like this. 490-5858 is the number here, 800-776-5858. And, Jay just hung up as I was going to his call. Dude, if you're out there, call me back. Earlier, before Staff Sergeant Hicklin came in, we were talking about the Paul Whelan story. Paul Whelan is a United States Marine who was detained in Russia now nearly 4 years ago. He's 2 years into a prison sentence, and he is still in Russian custody, even as Brittany Griner has come home. There are people who are understandably unhappy about that. Jay's a veteran, and Jay, I appreciate you calling back, dude. Welcome to KMJ.
Thank you. Incidentally, I was one on the call last time. You thought you were ignorant about thanking a vet. You're not.
I remember talking to you, Jay. I'm glad you're still with us.
Roger. I continue to serve. Yes, we are very upset about what's going on. Her sex has nothing to do with it. It's just the way things have happened. This man has been in prison for 4 years. He is a Marine, and we serve this country, and we still continue to serve this country, and we constantly get slapped in the face and expected to go do our jobs. But a person that goes and plays a sport, which is not, and I'm not watering it down, it's not more important than serving this country. I like sports, love football, but this is definitely wrong. This man has been trapped behind enemy lines for years. There's even a movie about the one who made who's selling the arms. I urge everybody to go out there and look at that movie and compare that to Brittany Griner's mistake. Mind you, she's been going overseas, so she knows about the laws. She's also said she made a mistake. Now, the Marine that's in jail, was he convicted, or is he actually a hostage over in Russia?
So that's an interesting question, Jay, because there's Paul Whelan's history on this thing is weird. And I think that it's because it is what it is that Putin wants more out of Whelan than he wanted out of Griner. And I know that's not much of a salve in the grand scheme of things, but he had served as a United States Marine. He was discharged after being convicted of larceny, which you know better than I do. That's not a big, bright, sunny spot on your service record. Nevertheless,
No, it isn't.
Nevertheless, he did serve, and I don't think that a single mistake erases the choice to take that oath. He was working in security contracting, and again, you know even better than I do, that's a really big umbrella that means a lot of different things, because he might be putting alarm contacts on people's bathroom windows for ADT, and he might be involved in corporate espionage.
True.
And so, unfortunately, with that kind of a backstory, the Russians sticking him with an espionage charge are going to treat him, whether it's true or not. And I don't believe for a minute that the Russians have anything on Paul or on Brittany by any standard that we would exercise in our country. But they can make...
He didn't understand. She was coerced into actually taking the charge.
Yeah. And I think that Paul Whelan is a victim of similar treatment. I think that he's being held hostage by a hostile government who's ginned up enough of a story to create doubt in the minds of those who should be negotiating in earnest for his release.
And that right there, what you said, is very important. Our country's strength, mental strength, has taken a downward turn. If we had the proper people to orchestrate this, I think it would be a lot different. This administration wants to continue to force us to take the jab, the COVID shot.
Yeah.
And there's been many mistakes behind this COVID shot. Here's another example of what's happening. That's an example of a mistake. The Griner and the Marine issue. No way. We are very upset about how this has been handled. She's only been in there for 10 months. This man has been there for 4 years.
Yeah.
How much talking has to be done before somebody gets this man out of there? He didn't go over there and commit heinous crimes. He didn't sell weapons of mass destruction. But the Russians were able to get an ace in the hole card out of our prison, a man who wants to kill Americans and kill any other person by selling weapons. And we have an administration that wants to disarm Americans. How does any of this make sense? It doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to be respectful as I possibly can, but I am welling over with being angry. And mind you, us in uniform have to be respectful. And another point to that, do you know that all enlisted personnel have to write upper brass's quarterly reports, meaning it's us as the worker bees below all brass who make brass look good, from the president on down. We make them look good, and we get nothing but a shallow pat on the back for doing a good job and taking a slap in the face or a slap on the back.
Jay,
go out and do another good job.
Jay, I can only begin to imagine your frustration. And I appreciate you picking up the phone, and I appreciate your take on this, because I don't have an argument to make against what you're saying. I just don't disagree with you. And unfortunately, Whelan is in a terrible position, and Griner was a much smaller fish. The fact that they gave back the Merchant of Death for a basketball player, it makes me wonder what's going on too. I got to get to news, my friend, but I'm glad you're still out there. I appreciate the call. It's always good to talk to you. Jim Miller's got it now in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A woman shot multiple times this morning in Fresno. Fresno police got a shot spotter activation at California Avenue and Pottle Avenue near Ventura Street and MLK Jr. Boulevard. They say the woman hit multiple times in the lower extremities. They don't believe the woman was the target and may have been an innocent victim. She was taken by ambulance to the hospital and is expected to survive. If you have any information about this shooting, you're asked to contact Fresno police. Visalia security guard has died. It follows a shooting inside a bar last night. Police said the security guard attempted to break up a fight before a suspect opened fire striking him in the chest. He died at the scene. Another victim shot, but they're expected to survive. No one's been arrested. Anyone with information to come forward, contact local authorities. Indictments announced today in a case meant to raise awareness of a crime that's on the rise, deed theft. ABC's Aaron Teresi has more.
It is what New York Attorney General Letitia James called a merciless crime that targets seniors and often seniors of color. It involves deed theft, where the defendants sold 3 homes in Queens that didn't belong to them. They impersonated the real homeowners with falsified documents and forged signatures, and then recruited people to pose as the homeowners during closings. The scam netted more than $1 million. 5 people have been indicted, and the authorities are trying to identify 3 more. The state attorney general said no one should face the nightmare of having their homes stolen. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Mostly cloudy today, then gradually becoming sunny with a high near 58 degrees. Tonight, the reverse of that, with clouds building back in and a 30% chance of rain overnight. The low, 45 degrees. A strong winter storm moves in this weekend. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Fresno right now on northbound 41 at Mountain View, there's an injury accident being reported there. North Fresno at East Ashland got a non-injury accident, and in Hanford on State Road 43 at Kansas, look out, an injury accident reported there. Next update is at 3:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. The easiest way to fight climate pollution is to recycle food scraps. Food rotting in landfills harms our climate, so throw food scraps in the food and yard waste bin, not the trash. For more recycling tips, go to irecyclesmart.com. Do your part. Recycle smart.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex DM. Say goodbye to retaking medicine every few hours. Buy Mucinex DM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than typical 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicines. That's 3 times longer relief for chest congestion and cough. Nothing lasts longer. Among OTC cough and cold medicines, use as directed.
Experience the wonder and light of Illuminature, Fresno Chaffee Zoo's all-new cultural spectacular featuring handmade lanterns. You've never seen a zoo lit up like this before. Get tickets now through January 22nd at FresnoChaffeeZoo.org.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Rolling through your 3 o'clock hour at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Glad you're with us. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. As the Toys for Tots drive-thru event continues here at Radio City, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw, we continue to talk about the return of Brittany Griner, which I believe is a net positive. I understand, and for the most part, I share the frustration of everybody who's saying, hey, what about Paul Whelan? It's a real important question. 2 different individuals, 2 different circumstances, 2 different hills to climb. The State Department has made the point that this was not an either-or negotiation. Whelan was never on the table. And unfortunately for Mr. Whelan, I think that the legend behind his employment history and his detention in Russia is going to make that a bigger push. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't be made. Jay made a great point about learning about the guy that we gave back for Brittany Griner. You want to talk about the disproportionate nature of the respective, call them criminals. One of them's a basketball player who may or may not have had some weed. The other one is an international arms dealer who was so prolific and over the top, they ended up making a movie about him with Nicolas Cage in the starring role. That doesn't seem proportional to me. I found it fascinating that Paul Whelan was able to get a phone call out, and I think that it speaks to the propaganda tool that his detention has always intended to be. Brittany Griner's arrest, the negotiation, and her subsequent release is shining a light on Americans being held by hostile governments abroad. That is a net positive. That is a good thing. And I don't think we should be leaving any American behind. Even if you disagree with her, you hate her politics, you hate her lifestyle, whatever. I don't think that we should be leaving a single American behind, including Paul Whelan with his complicated legend. But to the point that there is a propaganda angle to be considered here, Paul Whelan did an interview with CNN today.
Moments ago, to Paul Whelan himself. He remains behind bars, of course, in a Russian prison, left behind as part of this prisoner swap. CNN State Department producer Jennifer Hansler just got off the phone with Paul Whelan. She joins us now with her exclusive reporting. Jennifer, what did Paul Whelan tell you? How does he sound?
Well, Kate, he was disappointed that he had been left behind in this prisoner swap. He said he was surprised that he wasn't included in this, that he had gotten indications that things were moving in a good direction toward his release. And he said he's disappointed that more has not been done to free him from this penal colony. He's been there nearly 4 years now on espionage charges. He was charged to 16 years in prison for those charges that he vehemently denies. And he said he was very disappointed that he was left behind, though he was very happy that Brittany Griner got out today.
They've always considered me to be at a higher level than other criminals of my sort. And for whatever reason, I'm treated differently than another individual here from a Western country that's also on a charge of espionage. So even though we're both here for espionage, I'm treated much differently than he is. And my treatment is also much different than others held for espionage at other prisons.
Yeah, Kate, so you heard him describing there that he knew that the Russians considered him to be on a different level from Brittany Griner, which is something that U.S. officials have also said. They said they negotiated as much as they could to try to bring both Griner and Whelan home today, and ultimately the Russians said they would not take those two out. They would only trade Griner for boot today.
Yeah, and this is the treating the cases differently is something President Biden spoke to this morning in announcing the release of Brittany Griner. So what was Whelan's message now to President Biden?
Yeah, Whelan told me that he wants the Biden administration to continue to do everything that they can to bring him home. I want you to just take a listen to his own message in his own words that he wanted the president to hear.
I would say that if a message could go to President Biden that this is a precarious situation that needs to be resolved quickly. And I would hope that he and his administration would do everything they could to get me home, regardless of the price they might have to pay at this point.
So we will have to wait and see whether the Biden administration and the Russians can reach another deal to bring Paul home. Kate?
An interesting thing. A person being held in a Russian penal colony, charges of espionage leveled at that individual. And again, a backstory, a history that muddies the waters enough to lend that claim the kernel, and in my opinion, it is a kernel of credibility that the Russians require in order to try and extract much higher concessions for his release. But if we're willing to trade an international arms dealer for a basketball player, I encourage the State Department to explore the possibilities for bringing Mr. Whalen home. 490-5858 is the number here. And we got David on the line. David, thanks for hanging in there. Welcome to KMJ.
Thanks for taking my call. And I'll take your comments off the air. My take on this young Marine, great American in Russia, it's the same government trying to bring him home that was spitting in the face of our Vietnam veterans coming home. And what are they doing today? Starting to spit in the face of our great soldiers abroad and at home. They don't give a darn about them. Thank you for taking my call.
David, thank you for making it. I understand why you feel the way you feel. And I've talked to two veterans today, or excuse me, one veteran, one active duty soldier, Marine, who they share your sentiment. The administration needs to do more to bring him home. I do not have any faith in the truth of the narrative produced by the Russian government. And unless we've got a situation where this guy was actually some kind of deep cover spook who somehow got caught out, whose operational security was compromised, there's no excuse for leaving him to rot. And even if he is a deep cover guy, there's no excuse for leaving him to rot. But I have to be honest, I have a friend who has experience in these matters, who was able to take a little bit deeper dive than the general public might be able to, looking at Paul Whelan's backstory and service and the legend, as it were, of the man. And his opinion is that Whelan is not a player. He is not a deep cover operative. He is not a CIA spy. He is not somebody who would, in a rational situation, be treated as a threat to anybody's national security. And I have to go back to the fact that Paul Whelan is able to make telephone calls to talk to CNN. I don't know if you remember earlier when we were talking about Brittany Griner's return home and the intense debrief that she's going to go through. They are going to ask her about the weave of the fabric used to make the uniforms that they were wearing in that penal colony. They are going to want to know every single detail, because somewhere in there is some useful gem that is going to aid our intelligence guys. Meanwhile, the Russians are doing exactly the same thing with Victor Bout. Exactly the same thing. They're going to want to know about the weight of the steel used to manufacture the utensils with which he was allowed to eat his Nutriloaf while sitting in a Supermax federal prison. And I hope that they fed the Merchant of Death a bunch of nonsense to help muddy the trail and confuse the Russian security apparatus as to what exactly we do here. Ryan, I see you there. I'll get to your call in just a minute. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Today is the day of the Toys for Tots drive-through event right here at the KMJ studios, the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. We got a lot of great Marines hanging out downstairs, waiting to see you, say hello, shake your hand, and accept a donation of a new unwrapped toy, cash, or a check. We've also got the link up to fresno.toysfortots.org, Facebook, and Twitter. You'll find it at Drive KMJ.
Well, good afternoon. On the roadways, we have on Highway 41 at Mountain View an injury accident. Also, northbound 99 at 2nd Street, right there at the off-ramp, there's a non-injury accident. And then a couple of problems on the 41 at Elkhorn, a non-injury accident, and northbound 41 at McKinley, a hazard in the roadway. Our next update is at 4:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SaveOurWater.com. Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Let's all do our part. Save water. Save California.
The elves at Willow Gardens Nursery have been busy as they've stocked their holiday boutique with one-of-a-kind Christmas gifts, Christmas floral, ribbon, ornaments, and beautiful Christmas decor. Located at Willow and International in Clovis, Willow Gardens also has what your garden needs with an incredible selection of winter shrub and trees like gardenias, camellias and azaleas, or Korean sun pear trees and purple hopseed bush. Get in the spirit this holiday season and shop Willow Gardens. Open 7 days a week, they deliver, plus they give 10% off for veterans and seniors. Some exclusions may apply.
You know the first floor at Crawdaddy's can get a little wild when the crawdads kick it in and the crowd begins to rev up. It's like party time. The food, the service, the music, outrageous on that first floor, the legendary first floor of Crawdaddy's. A freestanding 3-story monument to all that is New Orleans. But maybe you are a bit more reserved. You'd like to quietly lay back in an opulent atmosphere with nothing but first-class food. An amazing long bar to satisfy your adult cravings. I recently took a very quiet table confined to a corner, had my favorite calamari appetizer with a lobster tail as the main entree. Very opulent, very relaxing, but at Crawdaddy's, it's the best of both worlds, the first or the second floor. Hey, you can always do both. You can go up to the second floor and relax with an incredible menu and that gorgeous atmosphere. And then you can go downstairs and rock until you blow your socks off. Crawdaddy's on Main and Visalia. And what's on the third floor? I'm never telling.
Need office equipment and technology to move your business forward in today's quickly changing marketplace? Let the experts at locally owned California Business Machines show you how the IRS Section 179 tax code allows you to deduct the entire cost of Kyocera printers, copiers, and document management systems this year. And you'll save even more with a zero-down lease plan and color copies for as low as an incredible 3 cents per page. But the deadline for these savings is firm. December 31st, 2022. So, if a new copier, printer, and document management system makes sense for your business, call the Kyocera experts at California Business Machines, serving the Central Valley for 6 decades with offices in Fresno and Visalia.
Hello, I'm Susie Santiano at California Business Machines. If you're interested in saving 100% on a Kyocera copier, give me a call at 225-5574 or visit us online at cbmsolution.com. Thank you.
Trust, it doesn't always come easy. When you need a home or a car, you shop around. When you need help with your finances, you want choices that work for you, not a flashy sales pitch. At LPL, our approach is thoughtful, professional, and personal. I'll help you work towards your goals by crafting a financial plan that focuses on you. You can reach me, Tom Diaz, by phone at 559-878-4623. Give me a call, and we can talk through your financial goals and answer questions you may have.
Thomas Diaz is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
You wanted local. We're bringing you local every Saturday on KMJ, featuring Auto Shop Talk, Christopher Gabriel, Joe and Lisa Basil, attorney Mark Capitan, the restaurateurs, and more. For showtimes and podcasts, click KMJNow.com.
Going up on 4 o'clock on your afternoon drive, it's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Toys for Tots drive-through event continues downstairs. And joining me in just a couple of minutes, we're going to get Corporal Jessica Montano in here. She is the coordinator for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots. And we'll talk about how it's going, what needs exist, and how you can be a part of the Toys for Tots drive-through event happening now, Radio City, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. But Ryan's been calling in to talk about the Brittany Griner Paul Whelan's story. And Ryan, thank you for hanging in there, my friend. Welcome to KMJ.
How you doing? Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Yeah, so I have a little point. I haven't heard anything about this guy, and his name's Mark Fogel. From what I understand, he's a 60-something-year-old international teacher who has been put in jail for 14 years on marijuana charges over there, but we have not heard a thing about him.
Yeah, Fogel, I've got the Newsweek biography in front of me. He was a history teacher at the Anglo-American school in Moscow, where his students included like the kids of U.S. diplomats. He got picked up at, tell me if this doesn't sound familiar with Brittany Griner coming home. He got picked up in August of 21 at the Moscow airport after allegedly entering the country with 17 grams of cannabis, which his family and his attorney say were prescribed by a doctor to treat chronic pain. And he is now serving a sentence outside of Moscow for basically the same trumped-up nonsense that Brittany Griner was held on.
Exactly.
Do you think that he is being held as a bigger bargaining chip because of his connection to the State Department?
Oh, that's a good question. I honestly didn't think about that one. I think that he kind of, just like the Marine, just is slipping through the cracks because of his lack of celebrity status.
That's not an outrageous assumption to make. I know there's a lot of folks who were very frustrated, especially that we brought home a basketball player before a Marine. Is the silver lining in the situation as it is that people are now saying Fogel and Whelan's names?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, Ryan, I agree with you. I'm frustrated by this situation, and I am convinced that any American citizen being held by a hostile foreign country should be brought home. And that has nothing to do with status. It has nothing to do with occupation. It has nothing to do with military service. Americans need to stick together. And if the silver lining from Brittany Griner is that we're hearing these guys' names and it puts pressure on the administration and the State Department, I'm all in favor of it. But I'm glad you brought Fogel up, because that was an oversight on my part to have not talked about him. We got an updated headlines coming with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom in just a minute. And when we get back, we will be talking with the corporal from the Marine Corps. This is the organizer for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots. The drive-through event's underway right now. Palm and Shaw at Radio City. Come on by, drop off a new unwrapped toy, or make a cash donation. The Marines know how to stretch those dollars. We'll be back in just a minute on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
Ring in the new year with us at the Harris Ranch Inn and Restaurant. Celebrate this New Year's Eve with a delectable dinner at any one of our 3 dining venues: Prime Steakhouse, Horseshoe Lounge, or the Ranch Kitchen on Saturday, December 31st. Then count down the new year in our Horseshoe Lounge as we celebrate the beginning of 2023. Join us for live music from Carson Wallace, along with dancing and cocktails from 8 p.m. till midnight. Make this New Year's a night to remember and extend the fun by booking a room at the Harris Ranch Inn. To book your stay or for more information, visit harrisranch.com. Harris Ranch, where the West unwinds.
Fed up with your water softener and its time-consuming upkeep? Tired of undrinkable water? A LifeSource whole house water system is your solution. LifeSource reduces hard water problems like softeners, but with LifeSource you get more. LifeSource reduces chemicals and contaminants for great water from all faucets, and there's no maintenance. For a limited time, LifeSource will pay your sales tax. Yes, 0 sales tax. Call 559-330-1850 or lifesourcewater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news.
Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
This holiday season, the best gift is the peace of mind you get from protecting yourself and your loved ones from COVID-19. There's an updated COVID-19 vaccine that helps protect against the newer variants. If you are older or have a chronic condition, you are at greater risk. If it's been more than 2 months since your last shot, or 3 months since you had COVID, you should get the shot. It's easy and free to you. Learn more at covidvaccineproject.org. That's covidvaccineproject.org.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so have your camera ready when they unwrap your gift from Ara Carcasian Jewelers.
Stop by our showroom for the best selection and value of jaw-dropping, eye-sparkling gifts.
Ara Carcasian Watch and Jewelry Company, Bullard and West.
News Talk, 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station. KMJ.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. An investigation underway after a woman hit by a car in Selma. Police there say the crash happened yesterday near the intersection of Floral Avenue and Wright Street. That woman taken to the hospital. The driver did stay to speak with investigators. Authorities said drugs and alcohol do not appear to be factors in this crash. A woman believed to be an innocent bystander recovering after being shot in Fresno this morning. They say the woman caught in a crossfire between two groups near California and Pottle Avenue at about 9:45 a.m. She was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A former Fresno high school band instructor sentenced for sexual encounters with students. KMJ's Liz Kern has more.
Fresno police arrested John Vilos back in 2018 after a 14-year-old student's mother called to say her son was molested by his band teacher. The student told police he had 3 encounters with Vilos while at Fresno High. Police say the 42-year-old committed sex acts in his office during school hours. 2 other students later accused him of inappropriately touching them. Vilos was sentenced 2 years behind bars. As part of a plea deal, he'll have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Organizers with Kids Can Sing say they want to spread some holiday cheer. Fresno Music Group has about 50 students who range from 1st to 8th grade. The Jingle Bell Jukebox is a 50 themes holiday event. It's scheduled for Friday, December 23rd. The organization performs for local retirement homes and gatherings. Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema announcing she is leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. ABC's Jay O'Brien is on Capitol Hill and has more.
The question that she faces now is what kind of independent does she become? There's Bernie Sanders, there's Angus King. These are independents that still caucus with the Democratic Party in the Senate. Who does Kyrsten Sinema hang out with? Does she try to sit in the middle? Does she caucus with the Republicans, something she said she is not going to do? Does she caucus with the Democrats, something she said she might do? Or does she forge her own path It's worth pointing out she wouldn't have made this decision if she didn't think it was beneficial for her politically. She's just got to decide how she's going to carry it out.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Mostly cloudy today, then gradually becoming sunny with a high near 58 degrees. Tonight, the reverse of that, with clouds building back in and a 30% chance of rain overnight. The low, 45 degrees. A strong winter storm moves in this weekend. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Right now in Fresno, northbound 99 at Shaw Avenue. Look out, there is a non-injury accident being reported there and some road blockage as well. Then we head to Visalia, southbound 99, just south of the 280. Got a non-injury accident there. Next update, 417. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
I listen to you guys. I steal all your information and just share it with my friends.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
4:05 on your afternoon drive. It is News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Today is the day. It's the Toys for Tots drive-through event at Radio City, the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. Bring a new unwrapped toy. And by the way, if you haven't shopped yet, when we talked with Staff Sergeant earlier, he said boys and girls ages 8 to 12 was a spot that needed some attention. And if you don't have time to shop, swing by, drop off some cash, make a donation that way. There's a website set up, fresno.toysfortots.org. We've got that linked on social media, Drive KMJ, and at kmjnow.com. Joining me in the studio this hour, Corporal Jessica Montano is the Toys for Tots coordinator for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots. Corporal, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the Marines turning out. 75 years of Toys for Tots. How many years have you been able to be a part of it?
I actually have been the coordinator for the last 9 years, but my first experience was back in '97 when I was with the reserve unit here locally, and we started doing some of these toy drives, so it's been a long time.
Oh, the reserve unit in 1997. So that would have been the Circuit City parking lot in the freezing fog.
Freezing fog with a barrel of wood, waving to the traffic going down Blackstone.
I remember those days. I remember being out there with a certain infamous rock station on the overnight shift, arguing with my board operator about whether or not I was going to die of frostbite. I appreciate you guys being out, and goodness knows the weather's a lot nicer than that today. It's actually a beautiful afternoon out there.
So nice outside right now.
A couple of these questions I asked Staff Sergeant earlier, but I'll ask you again. Are we on track? Are we meeting the need of Fresno Madera Toys for Tots for 2022?
Right now, we're a little short, so we are asking folks to come out. Definitely that 8 to 12 range that you mentioned. We have a trouble meeting that every year. So really, that's what we're looking right now. I was at the warehouse earlier today, and they were having a hard time filling those orders that we have already going out to some of the schools because they're short in that 8 to 12 range.
Boys and girls, 8 to 12. Mm-hmm. You've got such a broad spectrum there.
Yep.
Because you've got the readers, you've got the science kids, you've got the athletes, and you've got kids who are still kids. Mm-hmm. You've also got 12-year-olds who are starting to turn into little miniature adult impressionists.
Right.
What are the big hits? What's the stuff that people are really excited to see?
So we've seen a lot of like board games and like the athletic balls, stuff like that come in. But there has been a lot of gamers nowadays, and so anything related to like the Fortnites, any of those specialty games. I know my son's 9, and he loves anything related to it. He liked there was some Fortnite characters that he saw, and he loves that kind of stuff, and he puts that on his list. So I think something like that in that range. We've seen some telescopes come through, some microscopes. If you think about that range of people like you're talking about, just anything can be educational. things they can play with their family and friends. That we look for those kinds of things in that range.
Digital stuff is huge these days. I've got two kids. I've got a 24-year-old going on 19 and a 15-year-old going on 30, and both very smart kids and wildly different human beings. My older child he's a gamer. He loves his computer. He loves his consoles. That's for Christmas for him. For most of the past 20 years, it's been something in the gaming realm. Does video game stuff work well with Toys for Tots, or is that a better mom and dad and grandpa gift, and let's focus on balls and games and more kinetic type toys?
Across the board, we'll take whatever we can get. We'll take, and we'll make sure a child, has a nice Christmas with that. So definitely, a lot of the families that we see, we've worked with foster family agencies. We see some of the folks that, with the homeless community and whatnot, and even just some of the lower income folks that just can't afford those types of games. So those things are totally welcome, because a lot of those kids may not have an opportunity to have that kind of a gift had somebody from Toys for Tots not presented that for them.
Do people donate consoles? Do people drop off big ticket?
Yeah, we've had those little RC cars that you drive, like big ones, or Power Wheels or whatever. We've had stuff like that donated. So we take all of that and we can put it to good use.
And for the folks who just are now completely overwhelmed because we've got the entire world of toys still to pick from.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, Toys for Tots is able to, with your various partnerships in the community, you're able to manifest about 3 times the buying power that I'm going to be able to manifest going to Walmart, Target, Toys R Us.
Yeah, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there, right? So we do have the buying power because we work with wholesalers and vendors that are approved by Toys for Tots from the foundation. But that other part is I have to go shopping. And we're getting closer and closer to Christmas now. And so sometimes if folks can get that, maybe we might not get as many of the toys as we could have purchased, but we have the toys in hand that we can turn around and give to kids right away. So
what are the age ranges that are served? Because I'm assuming that you're not giving toys to infant still in arms.
We actually are.
Oh,
so
really?
we actually serve 0 to 12 here. We work with a couple other agencies that help the teenage group, but we here in Fresno just focus on 0 to 12.
Okay.
The school age children.
Yeah. That narrows it down a little bit because once you make that jump into teen, there's definitely a different set of interests there. For somebody who is hearing about this, wishes they could help, but is, for circumstances beyond their control, actually on the other end of the spectrum and they need help.
Yep.
I know we are really, really close to Christmas for folks to be putting their hands up. Is there a way for somebody who's just now hearing us today to apply for their kid to get a toy?
Yeah, so if they go to the website, thefresno.toysfortots.org, and they click on the link to request a toy, our wait list is actually open up till tomorrow night. So and I won't close it till after midnight, and really I probably won't close it till I wake up in the morning, but I got to go in there manually and do that, but they can still go and apply for a toy. And again, we do cover Fresno and Madera counties, and we're actually working. I just had a conversation earlier with some folks in Madera that we're going to actually do a distribution out there too. So we're going to do 2 distributions so that those folks don't have to come into where we're at here. We can do one out in Madera, we could do one out in Fresno to try to reach the community a little further.
Oh, that's great. So again, you heard the web address, fresno.toysfortots.org. And if you navigate to the website, you'll actually see 3 buttons right underneath Jessica's name: apply for toys, donate online, or donate a toy. If you want to donate online, we're very glad to see you do so. If you want to donate a toy, you can come down here, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. You'll recognize our building. It's the 3-story blue and white cube on stilts, and there's a bunch of Marines out in front of it right now. So how many, just in Fresno, Madera, I know that the Marines who work Toys for Tots do so on a volunteer basis. How many Marines are going to be involved in Fresno, Madera Toys for Tots this year?
So we're the Marine Corps League. We're a veterans organization. So I have a staff about 5 to 10 roughly that are part of that core staff, but we have a lot of other Marines and other veterans and even some of their family members that help us out. So I have a good, maybe about 15 folks that we have regularly working in our warehouse, going out to events. We have, again, about 5 to 10. So we're working in that 30 probably personnel range. But most of it's Marine veterans, other veterans, and their family members that help out.
When's the crunch? When's the point at which you, your fellow Marines, the other volunteers that have stepped in, when does this turn into, gosh, that was nice hanging out in the parking lot eating pizza and drinking coffee, and turn into, we're going to be here until what comes up?
Well, next week is our big push because we want to be able to get the toys in to be able to process them, because we got to count, we got to sort them, and then we got to get them back out to the kids. So we're going to do our distribution that week before Christmas, but next week is going to be our big crunch time for people to donate and get toys in so that we'll have enough to give out.
Did you see a big uptick as a result of the pandemic?
Oh, yes, big time. With the pandemic and even post-pandemic, we're seeing a lot more folks, having a hard time just struggling to make ends meet, and the need is there. So
I had heard at one point that part of structuring the goal for Toys in Hand is based on whatever happened last year. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the bottom line. And if I recall correctly, that number was about 60,000 toys.
Yep.
How are we doing on progress between actual toy donations and funds in hand to fill it out?
So I've received, last week when we had our big marathon weekend, so all of those have already been sent out, and we've pretty much purchased everything. We've spent everything. So anything we collect here today, I'm hoping to turn that around on the next couple of days and be able to buy another batch of toys. But it takes about 3 to 5 days in turnaround for every time we have a big event like this. And, getting those toys in time is always a crunch. That's why I say next week is our biggest crunch.
Now, I know that the request is and has always been a new unwrapped toy. Mm-hmm. And I asked about video game consoles earlier because I know there's folks out there of means who will just, hey, this is going to make some kids Christmas. Yes. And yeah, it will. One of the things that has become very, very popular in about the past 2-3 years has been restored vintage consoles. Mm-hmm. And so there are now stores and websites where you can go buy the Nintendo Entertainment System from when I was a kid. Right. You can buy a Sega Genesis or, everything in that, span between there and here. I know you guys don't want somebody dropping off a shoebox full of wires. But if somebody acquires a restored vintage console, is there a concern that be packed in a console box, or is there a little bit of play because of the nature of the item?
I would say if it's packed in the console box or somehow where it shows that's a fully refurbished, that's practically new. I think that's something we can work with. A lot of times too, especially with the foster family agencies and whatnot, there's some group homes for kids that we can maybe utilize that and send those to, and so then multiple kids can be able to utilize something like that if we're unsure if it's brand new and whatnot.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that there's a point where if somebody donates a vintage console, you guys get to hook it up and go play?
No, that wouldn't be us. We would make sure the kids would get it.
That's the voice of Corporal Jessica Montano. She is the Toys for Tots coordinator for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots. If you want to donate online, fresno.toysfortots.org. But the big help, the big push is new unwrapped toys, and the range that they are focused on right now, boys and girls, 8 to 12 years old, and that's athletic equipment, it's balls, it's microscopes, it's telescopes, it's video game stuff. It's for the younger ones, it's still stuffed animals and that kind of thing. What does I have a picture in my head because I've got two sons of what an 8 or a 9-year-old boy wants. For somebody who's scratching their head a little bit, what's a good gift for a 9-year-old girl right now?
We look at a lot of the crafting type of stuff, especially when we go out to purchase, because a lot of the creative kind of things seem to go well. I know I have a niece who's 8 years old, and so I try to gauge it on that. But we also have, girls that are into a lot of the stuff that the boys are into too. So, but a lot of that craft creative stuff, I see those go a long way with some of these girls from that age group, because they can, make jewelry, they can make just different things and get real creative with those toys.
The bead bracelets.
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes. My kid came home with more bead bracelets last year.
It's insane.
All right, that's Corporal Jessica Montano. She is the coordinator for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots and is with Marine Corps League Detachment 14 here in Fresno. You want to be a part of today's event? You've got until 6 o'clock. They are downstairs, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. That's right across Shaw from Honey Baked Ham. It's kitty corner from Fig Garden Village. You can get in from Palm, from Shaw, or from Harrison. Whether you've got a new unwrapped toy or you've got cash to drop off, everybody's going to be glad to see you. Come on by. It continues for another 2 hours almost on KMJ.
Right now in Fresno on Highway 41 at eastbound Mountain View, got a very serious injury accident with lots of emergency personnel on the scene there. Also on 41 at East Elkhorn, got a non-injury accident being reported. Our next update is at 4:33. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention parents with a child diagnosed with autism or severe ADHD. A recent congressional study found dangerously high levels of toxic heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic in many popular baby food brands. Brands such as Gerber, Plum Organics, Beech-Nut, Walmart, and more. Some contain toxic metals 200 times the maximum safe levels set by the FDA. Heavy metals in baby food are known to be severe neurotoxins, and exposure to them at a young age can cause lifelong brain damage and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you fed baby food to your child and they were later diagnosed with autism, autism spectrum disorders, or ADHD, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call today for your free consultation. 800-728-1993. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-728-1993. That's 800-728-1993. Again, 800-728-1993.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Make the season bright with the $550,000 Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway. Come out on Friday, December 23rd for the grand finale to win your share of $90,000 cash. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Thanks again to Corporal Jessica Montano. She is the coordinator for Fresno Madera Toys for Tots, and she is one of the Marines hanging out for the Toys for Tots drive-thru event happening now at Radio City at Palm and Shaw Southwest corner. Come on by, say hi to your Marines, drop off a new unwrapped toy. You can also make cash or check donations. They'll be really happy to see you, really grateful for your donation. And they're going to be out there until 6 o'clock tonight, so you got time to come by. As a matter of fact, how's this for a plan? It's Friday night. We're done. We're into the first weekend that leads into, for a lot of families, the beginning of winter break, and for many, many people in a variety of industries, the beginning of a lull in the work calendar, as it were. Go get a toy. Swing by Target, swing by Walmart, wherever you go. Go grab a toy. Think about boys and girls 8 to 12 years old. Anything you can think of. Athletic stuff, science stuff, books, stuffed animals, whatever. Come by, drop off those new unwrapped toys. You can head over to Fig Garden Village. They got Capriati's. They got Jack's Urban Eats. They got Chipotle. They got Elbow Room. They've got Wasabi. They've even got the hot bar over at Whole Foods and the Habit Burger Grill. Grab dinner at one of those joints, get takeout, and then pop back out and buzz down to the end of Christmas Tree Lane. You can do Christmas Tree Lane. I think it opens up, I think it opens at nightfall. Might be 6 o'clock. Go down Christmas Tree Lane. You'll pop right back out here at Palm and Shaw. You have satisfied your karma. You have donated toys to Toys for Tots. You have had a meal out with your family. You've had a good time going down Christmas Tree Lane. It is a perfect way to start your weekend. And it's not a bad way to build a little karma. Just a thought. I know a guy who's running his karma clock the other way. KCTV 5 obtained a message from a manager at Johnson County, Kansas, Olive Garden. I've had some tough bosses. Now, I'll not kissing anybody's backside here. The folks that I work for at Cumulus Media, very reasonable people, very easy to get along with. I'm very fortunate that I work for Blake and Patty. They treat me really, really well. And the few times that I've needed to take personal time, there hasn't even been a bat of an eye. It's been, yeah, go, take care of your family. Family first, always. And that's come from both of them every single time. And as far as our corporate structure goes, I've never heard otherwise. So I when I talk about having bad bosses, I'm not talking about my situation here. But I've had bad bosses. I worked for one guy. Now, granted, he was a little more entrepreneurial than some of the other places I worked. And he told me as we were headed into Thanksgiving that we would work the morning of Thanksgiving because it was women's job to cook the food anyways. And what are you going to do? Sit on your butt and watch the stupid parade? We'll knock off at lunch so you can go home and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to take off Jesus' birthday, Christmas, and New Year's Day because all these idiots are going to be too hungover to do anything productive anyways. And in his mind, that was a holiday calendar, and those were the days off. Otherwise, 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. If you aren't working, you're not making money. And if you're not making money, you don't belong here. Now, in reality, he was much more human about it, but he wanted everybody at work. This manager How's this for a note from the boss? It reads, our call-offs are occurring at a staggering rate. From now on, if you call off, you might as well go out and look for another job. We are no longer tolerating any excuse for calling off. If you're sick, you need to come prove it to us. If your dog died, you need to bring him in and show us. The now former manager told employees that they would lose their job if they called off more than once in a 30-day period. He followed up saying, do you know in my 11 and a half years at Darden how many days I called off? 0. I came in sick. Oh, that's great at a restaurant. I got in a wreck literally on my way to work one time. Airbags went off and my car was totaled. But you know what? I made it to work on time. After telling employees that there were no more excuses, a representative from Olive Garden confirmed that they parted ways with the manager as the manager's message did not align with company values. The representative for the Darden family of restaurants, the parent company of the Olive Garden, said, quote, we strive to provide a caring and respectful work environment for our team members. This message is not aligned with our company's values. We can confirm we have parted ways with the manager. No kidding. I think I had one manager give me a hard time about calling off. And in fairness to that manager, who sucked, he was dreadful. But in fairness to him, I did call off the day after Halloween, which in his mind meant that I had gone out and partied, and I got a very skeptical tone. Thank goodness for the Teamsters Union. We got an update of headlines now with Jim Miller in the KMJ Newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. 2 Tulare police officers are back to work after being arrested in Visalia following a house party back in October. This is an update from an incident that happened on Halloween where officers Juan Marino and Alejandro Veracruz, who also happened to be siblings, were taken into custody after the Tulare County Sheriff's Office paid a visit to Marino's house due to complaints of loud music. In the original reporting, Marino was arrested for a misdemeanor domestic battery and resisting arrest. Veracruz was arrested for resisting arrest and obstruction. After an internal investigation done by Tulare County DA's office, they concluded that neither of the officers will be charged. It was determined that the officers did not violate Tulare Police Department policy. They have been administratively cleared of any wrongdoing. A nonprofit organization in Fresno invites you to experience a long-running holiday ballet. KMJ's Liz Kern has details on the Central California Ballet Nutcracker 22 this weekend in Fresno.
Tchaikovsky's memorable music will be brought to life by over 100 talented local dancers and performers. The Lively Arts Foundation presenting the Nutcracker Ballet at the Soroyan Theater. It's been recognized in Dance Magazine for its resurrection of the character of the vengeful Mouse Queen from the original Nutcracker fairy tale by E.T.A. Hoffman. In keeping with its commitment to introduce arts to the underserved members of the community, Lively Arts Discover Dance Project will invite 500 at-risk students to attend the performances at no charge. You can watch the Central California Ballet Nutcracker 22 both Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Soroyan Theater at Fresno's Convention Center. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Today we'll see a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 58 degrees. Tonight a few showers mainly north of Fresno County with a low in the mid-40s. A strong system will bring rain and mountain snow early Saturday morning through the weekend. Freezing temperatures are likely for much of next week. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Fresno on Highway 41 at East Mountain View, got a real serious injury accident out there. In Parlier, South Bethel at East Huntsman, an injury accident reported there. And Visalia, eastbound 188 at Court, a hazard being reported, but no details. Next update, 447. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Recently, I had the dreaded COVID that I've been ducking for 2 years. The first time I've had it, and my God, it better be the only time because it was awful. As a patient of Dr. Boz at the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers, he took care of me. And he took care of me very well. But something else is now upon us that most of us deal with in this valley. It's fall. It's the allergies. It's asthma. It's sinus problems. They're already here. And shall I add to all of this really good news? Yeah, right. Good news tongue in cheek. Flu season. It's upon us. Get a flu shot, please. Something I do religiously every year. And I haven't grown another head. No worries there. Hey, the symptoms are common, coughing, wheezing, tightness in the chest, headache, and fever. And when that happens, it's the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers, and they're everywhere. Click BozAllergy.com. Boz is B-A-Z. You'll find the nearest location to you. Then you can stop suffering. The Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers will make that diagnosis. They'll get it right, and they'll give you the proper treatment right now.
People have questions about home energy storage and backup power options. Sometimes solar and a battery makes sense. Or, for some, a generator is a better solution. Solar Negotiators will help you evaluate all your options. Click or call for a quote today.
Measure C needs you. Become a member of the Citizen Oversight Committee for Measure C and join other local leaders to help ensure that money for Fresno County's transportation systems is spent effectively and as promised to the public. Apply today at MeasureC.com.
Cumulus Radio in Fresno is looking to hire an account executive to represent our radio brands and digital platforms. If you have a background in marketing and advertising and have a passion for helping local businesses grow their footprint in our market, we may be a good fit for you. You will work directly with local clients and help diversify their marketing initiatives across various organized platforms. The ideal candidate will be creative, social media savvy, progressive digital mentality, and fun to work with. Please send your resume to General Sales Manager Melissa Del Carlo at melissa.delcarlo@cumulus.com. Cumulus Media is an equal opportunity employer.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Teresi, streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
It's your afternoon drive. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free at 800-776-5858. Toys for Tots drive-through event carries on right here at Radio City at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. Love to see you drop by and drop off a new unwrapped toy. Cash and check donations also very welcome. And by the way, if you just can't join us, head over to fresno.toysfortots.org, and that is spelled out, by the way, F-O-R. fresno.toysfortots.org. Make a donation online if you can't join us here at Radio City, but please, this is a incredible opportunity to help kids right here in our community. And your money stays here, and your toys stay here, and it goes to families who need a little help on the holidays. It goes to kids who might not otherwise have anything to open on Christmas, and it's just as simple as you swinging by, saying hi to the Marines downstairs, and making that donation, or heading over to the website, making the donation there if you must. They'll be out there until 6 o'clock, by the way. So the second installment of the Twitter files did finally drop. Barry Weiss had it all for us yesterday evening. And similarly to the first installment of the Twitter files, it is a long thread on Twitter that does include some documentation. And the thread begins at Barry Weiss, thread, the Twitter files part 2, Twitter's secret blacklists. The first tweet begins, a new Twitter Files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees build blacklists, prevent disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limit the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret and without informing users. Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. Barry Weiss, forgive me, I'm going to get it wrong every time. I don't know what it is about a chick named Barry. Barry Weiss says along the way, those barriers were erected nonetheless. Take, for example, Stanford doctor Jay Bhattacharya, who argued that COVID lockdowns would harm children. Twitter secretly placed him on a trends blacklist, which prevented his tweets from trending. And you can see a screenshot of a back-end control console that shows the doctor's Twitter account, shows his tweet count, his follower count, describes how long it's been active, and then has 4 different designations in a field that would not be visible to you and I as users of Twitter. And the first field simply says active. The second field has a orange box that reads recent abuse strike. A second box connected to that in purple reads strike count 0. And then another orange box that reads trends blacklist. Barry Weiss goes on to say, or consider the popular right-wing talk show host Dan Bongino, who at one point was slapped with a search blacklist. And on the D Bongino account, again, you can see his profile information, his comment count, his follower count, his like count, a circle slash that has a value attributed to it. On the doctor, it was 0.04. On Bongino, it's 0.08. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what that value represents. In the top of the back-end informational account details, it shows active. It also shows verified. And then in the second field, there is notification strike, search blacklist, Twitter blue verified, multiple accounts, not safe for work view, strike count, which is enumerated at 0, and something called SPMA. Barry Weiss shows the back-end controls for Charlie Kirk's account. Barry's tweet says, Twitter set the account of conservative activist Charlie Kirk to do not amplify. And again, Kirk is verified and active, and then has recent abuse strike, notifications spike, multiple accounts, 0 strike count, not safe for work view, do not amplify, and then other with a count of 2 that isn't explained. Barry Weiss says Twitter denied that it does these things. In 2018, Twitter's head of legal policy and trust, Vijaya Gada, and the head of product, Kayvon, I think it's Bikapoor, and you have to forgive me, some of these names just aren't familiar to me. They both said, we do not shadow ban. They added, quote, and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology. Barry Weiss says that what many people call shadow banning, Twitter executives and employees call visibility filtering, or VF. Multiple high-level sources confirmed its meaning. One senior Twitter employee told Barry Weiss, quote, think about visibility filtering as being a way for us to suppress what people see to different levels. It's a very powerful tool. She continues, visibility filtering refers to Twitter's control over user visibility. It used VF to block searches of individual users, to limit the scope of a particular tweet's discoverability, to block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending page, and from inclusion in hashtag searches, all without users' knowledge. One Twitter engineer and 2 additional Twitter employees confirmed the following. Quote, "We control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit, and normal people do not know how much we do." So the group that decided whether to limit the reach of certain users was the Strategic Response Team Global Escalation Team, or SRT-GET. Barry Weiss says it often handled up to 200 cases a day. But she says there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond rank-and-file moderators following the company's policy on paper. That's the Site Integrity Policy Escalation Support, known as SIP-PES. So CertGet and SIP-PES. Barry Weiss continues, this secret group included Head of Legal Policy and Trust, Vijaya Gadda, and the Global Head of Trust and Safety, Yael Routh. Subsequent CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, and others. Barry Weiss says this is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made. Another Twitter employee said, quote, "Think high follower count controversial. There would be no ticket or anything." One of the accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok. That's an account that ended up on the Trends blacklist and was designated as do not take action on user without consulting SIP-PES. That is the higher and more secretive of these 2 censorship layers. Barry Weiss says the account, which Shia Raychek began back in November of 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers, was subjected to 6 suspensions in 2022. Each time, Raychek was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter repeatedly informed Raychek that she had been suspended for violating Twitter's policy against hateful conduct. But in an internal SIP-PES memo from October of 22, after her 7th suspension, the committee acknowledged that Libs of TikTok, quote, has not directly engaged in behavior violative of the hateful conduct policy. And then there's a screenshot of a recommendation and assessment. The committee justified her suspensions internally, claiming her posts encouraged online harassment of, quote, hospitals and medical providers by insinuating that, quote, gender-affirming healthcare is equivalent to child abuse or grooming. Compare this to what happened when Raychek herself was doxxed on November 21st. A photo of her home with her address was posted in a tweet that has garnered more than 10,000 likes. When Raychek told Twitter that her address had been disseminated, she says Twitter support responded with the message, quote, we received the reported content and didn't find it to be in violation of the Twitter rules. No action was taken, and that doxing tweet is still online. A little more from Twitter Files Part 2. And a thought beyond what Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi have had to say about this. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. The Toys for Tots drive-through event, 75 years of Toys for Tots, and we're doing it right now in the Radio City parking lot at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. Come on by. Drop off a new unwrapped toy, a check or cash. It's all welcome. The Marines are down there in the KMJ parking lot waiting to see you right now. They'll be out there until 6 o'clock. I'm Philip Teresi, and this is KMJ.
On the roadways, things are kind of busy on this Friday, soon-to-be evening. Highway 41 at Mountain View, an injury accident there. In Madera on Highway 41 at Avenue 12, we got a hazard in the number 1 lane. Parlier on South Bethel at East Huntsman. There's an injury accident being reported. Then in Visalia, eastbound 198 at Court Street. Got a hazard reported there. And heads up in Hanford, Excelsior between 11th and 12th. A bunch of wood in the roadway. Our next update is at 5:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Make the season bright with the $550,000 Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway. Come out on Friday, December 23rd for the grand finale to win your share of $90,000 cash. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
We really like the fact that Personal Express Insurance is local. We know them all personally.
That face-to-face, one-on-one personal attention is just another reason why people every day become Personal Express Insurance customers.
We've been very happy, very satisfied with the discount rate that they give to us.
Personal Express Insurance has been known for their great rates, but their customers come with them and stay with them for what they like to call their local advantage.
I have had insurance companies call me and they tell me they can beat Personal Express Insurance. And when I tell them what I'm paying for the insurance, they tell me we cannot beat that.
With offices in Fresno, in the Fig Garden Village, in Clovis in the Buchanan Crossroads, and in Visalia in the Visalia Pavilion. Or go to expressinsurance.com for a fast, free quote.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Peralta, President of Personal Express Insurance. Everyone, please stay safe and stay healthy.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia.
Are you like me? You like to play around with your truck or your Jeep? Whether that vehicle is just a toy or maybe it's your office, it's your work. That's how you make your living because of your truck. Every single need you have with that vehicle is met by the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Yeah, me, Ray Appleton. I'm talking about this great company that I have been involved with for a couple of decades now. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many different dealerships here in Central California have used the Noble Brothers for years to finish their trucks. But you want to finish that after purchase build out? Your partner on that one has to be the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers. 2 of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other at Blackstone and Sierra. Hey, you got a fifth wheel? You need the Noble Brothers. They have gooseneck hitches, and yes, they have B&W. You need a bed liner? A ladder rack? You have a Jeep Wrangler like me. You want to lift it, big tires, wheels, all kinds of lights. For 42 years, it's the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
The elves at Willow Gardens Nursery have been busy as they've stocked their holiday boutique with one-of-a-kind Christmas gifts, Christmas floral, ribbon, ornaments, and beautiful Christmas decor. Located at Willow and International in Clovis, Willow Gardens also has what your garden needs with an incredible selection of winter shrub and trees like gardenias, camellias and azaleas, or Korean sun pear trees and purple hopseed bush. Get in the spirit this holiday season and shop Willow Gardens. Open 7 days a week, they deliver, plus they give 10% off for veterans and seniors. Some exclusions may apply.
Live, local, on it. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
KMJ.
And always streaming at KMJNow.com.
Accelerating towards the 5 o'clock hour on a Friday afternoon. It is News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ, your home for the Toys for Tots drive-through event underway now at Radio City. The KMJ studios are located at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw, and we've got a whole lot of Marines hanging out downstairs waiting to see you with a new unwrapped toy or two, or a cash or check donation. Come on by, say hello. They're going to be out there until 6 o'clock tonight, and they'd love to see you, and those donations are always appreciated. We're talking about the Twitter Files Part 2, this time by way of Barry Weiss. Of course, Part 1 came through Matt Taibbi, and it appears that Part 3 will also come through Taibbi. One of the interesting pieces about how this is being done is part of the agreement that was arrived upon for these two journalists to be the source on this, the point of first disclosure, was that they had to agree to do this very convoluted, very cumbersome process of sharing the Twitter files as Twitter threads before any other original reporting or comprehensive write-up could be done. So where we left off was Barry Weiss reporting that when the person who controls the account Libs of TikTok complained that she had been doxxed. They posted a picture of her house and her home address. This is a tweet that ended up garnering more than 10,000 likes. God knows how many shares. She told Twitter what happened, and they responded, it doesn't violate the rules. Now, Barry Weiss continues, saying in internal Slack messages, Twitter employees spoke of using technicalities to restrict the visibility of tweets and subjects. And she screenshots a communication from Yoel Routh, Twitter's then head of global trust and safety, in a direct message to a colleague from early 2021, wherein Routh says a lot of times SI has used technicality spam enforcements as a way to solve a problem created by safety under enforcing their policies, which again isn't a problem per se, but it keeps us from addressing the root cause of the issue, which is that our safety policies need some attention. 6 days later, in a direct message with an employee on the Health Misinformation, Privacy, and Identity Research team, Roth requested more research to support expanding non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification or visibility filtering. And he says, again, from a screenshot of this Slack chat, Yoel Routh, quote, one of the biggest areas I'd love to research support on is in regards to non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification visibility filtering. The hypothesis underlying much of what we've implemented is that if exposure to, for instance, misinformation directly causes harm, we should use remediations that reduce exposure and limit the spreading or virality of content. It's a good way to do that by just reducing prevalence overall. We got Jack on board with implementing this for civic integrity in the near term, but we're going to need to make a more robust case to get this into our repertoire of policy recommendations, especially for other policy domains. So I'd love research's point of view on that. In other words, they're actively agitating, trying to get Jack Dorsey, the then CEO of Twitter, to sign off on what has been called colloquially shadow banning, but is actually visibility filtering in the vernacular of Twitter management. Barry Weiss winds down, saying there is more to come on this story, which was reported by Abigail Shire, Schellenberger, MD, Nellie Bowles, Isaac Grafstein, and the Free Press team at the FP. Barry Weiss invites you to keep up with the unfolding story here and at the new website, The FP, as in the Free Press, thefp.com. She says the authors have broad and expanding access to Twitter's files. The only condition we agreed to was that the material would first be published on Twitter. and we're just getting started on our reporting. Documents cannot tell the whole story here. A big thank you to everyone who's spoken to us so far. If you're a current or former Twitter employee, we'd love to hear from you. Please write to tips@thefp.com. And finally, she concludes, watch Matt Taibbi for the next installment. So this demonstrates some important stuff, like that Twitter was, in fact, shadow banning users. It also shows that this was not semi-arbitrary behavior from low-level functionaries. It was done at the direction of the highest levels of management, excluding the CEO. I've got a couple of thoughts on what this actually means here in the real world for you and me. And we will get to that after an update of headlines. That's coming with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom, along with an update of traffic from Greg Lane and your trending topics at 5 o'clock. The Toys for Tots drive-through event continues until 6 p.m. tonight right here at the KMJ studios at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. We'd love to see you out here. Come on by.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
California's #1 selling RV dealer does it again. Best RV presents its annual RV show now through January 31st. Come in now and see hundreds of motorhomes, toy haulers, fifth wheels, travel trailers, tent trailers, as well as Class A, B, and C. The selection is endless at Best RV. Best RV has the lowest prices, free dealer prep, and no hidden fees. Financing available. It couldn't be a better time to get down to Best RV. Check them out at 5340 Taylor Court in Turlock or online at bestrv.com.
Serious business. Paying for one takes some serious money. At LPL Financial, we understand that putting a child through college takes thoughtful, professional, and personal planning. You can reach me, Tom Diaz, by phone at 559-878-4623. Give me a call, and we can talk through your financial goals and answer questions you may have.
Thomas Diaz is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, I'm Lorna Roush. My family farms pistachios in Fresno County, but I'm also a mom and a grandma, and I want to share a shocking fact with you. Pistachios are a superfood. They're high in antioxidant activity, which means they're health protective and support a strong immune system. But you don't have to tell the kids. Just put out a big bowl of pistachios and watch them disappear. And thanks for supporting California's pistachio farmers like me.
Learn more from American pistachio growers at americanpistachios.org.
The winter months are upon us, so it's time for your truck's free winter diagnostic checkup. Come on in and let one of our certified service technicians perform a comprehensive HVAC and battery systems check. If further repairs are required, you can receive up to a 15% discount on parts and labor needed for the repair. Visit any one of our 3 dealerships at E.M. Tharp Golden State Peterbilt, located in Fresno, Porterville, and Bakersfield. Call today to schedule your free winter checkup. 800-421-0117. That's 800-421-0117.
Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Police investigating an early morning shooting in northwest Fresno. A man was struck in his lower body on Woodson and Gettysburg at about 2 a.m. He is expected to survive. Officials have not released any details about the incident. A former Fresno teacher getting 2 years behind bars for having sexual encounters with students. John Veloz will also have to register as a sex offender. The former band director was arrested back in 2018 after multiple students accused him of touching them inappropriately. A continued surge in respiratory illnesses in the valley causing health departments to say if you don't have a medical emergency, don't use an ambulance or the hospital emergency room.
Cases of the flu, RSV, and COVID have valley hospitals and emergency rooms overwhelmed with patients. That's according to a statement released from the Fresno County Health Department. Now health officials within Fresno County are reinstalling an assessment policy to help relieve the pressure on ERs. It encourages those with non-emergency life-threatening issues to seek care from their primary doctor or an urgent care center, but it will not impact emergency response from an ambulance. Ruth Michaels, KMJ News.
A Visalia security guard dead. It follows a shooting inside a bar this week. Police report the security guard attempting to break up a fight before a suspect opened fire, striking him in the chest. He died on scene. Another victim was shot, but they're expected to survive. No one's been arrested. Anyone with information is urged to come forward. The state's Ag Department lays out the rules for bringing in a Christmas tree from out of state. KMJ Ag Director Don York reports.
The California Department of Food and Agriculture says you can bring in that noble fir or cut pine Christmas tree from Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona. But that cut tree must be free of pests, disease, and weeds. Plus, there's a limit of 3 cut pine Christmas trees per vehicle. And any plant material entering California is still subject to inspection at border stations. Don York, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Today we'll see a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 58 degrees. Tonight a few showers mainly north of Fresno County with a low in the mid-40s. A strong system will bring rain and mountain snow early Saturday morning through the weekend. Freezing temperatures are likely for much of next week. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Right now in Fresno, Highway 41 at East Mountain View, we have an injury accident at that location. Madera, southbound 99 at East Almond Avenue, a disabled vehicle in the center divide. They have set up traffic control to get the vehicle out of the way. South Bethel Avenue at East Huntsman in Parlier, we got an injury accident. And eastbound 198 at Court Street, there is a hazard being reported there. Hanford Excelsior, between 11th and 12th, there's wood in the roadway. And in Shaver Lake on the 168 near Crystal Creek, there is report of a fire, but Caltrans says there are control burns in the area, so that is what that is all about. 5:17, our next update. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This hour of KMJ's Afternoon Drive is brought to you by A&E Pressure Washers. Sales and service for anything and everything on your wash pad.
Hey, you got a tickle in your schnoz? Call Dr. Boz. Click BozAllergy.com. Boz, B-A-Z. BozAllergy.com.
Make the season bright with the $550,000 Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway. Come out on Friday, December 23rd for the grand finale to win your share of $90,000 cash. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
5:06. It is News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi, and we're now into hour 4 of the Friday installment of your Afternoon Drive. The phone numbers here remain 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. Find the show all over social media at Drive KMJ. Watch us streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv. Also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as we give you the trending topics at 5 o'clock. We started the show with the Daily Buzz question asking, have you ever been the victim of a porch pirate? You can answer the Daily Buzz question at KMJNow.com. It is sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. The red wave is coming. Frank Pucher is the Senior Associate Athletics Director for External Relations at California State University, Fresno. He joined the show to discuss the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl game and how to get your tickets. In less than 48 hours, Fresno State Bulldog fans snapped up almost all the available tickets and suites at SoFi Stadium to watch Fresno State's matchup against Washington State on December 17th. We have more tickets, and you can continue to buy yours until tomorrow at GoBulldogs.com. And if you want to be a part of the official tailgate, that information will be found at FresnoStateAlumni.com. GoBulldogs.com if you want to go to the game. Brittany Griner arrived in the United States today after being freed from a Russian prison in exchange for Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms dealer. That trade ended 10 months of captivity for Griner, who was convicted on drug smuggling charges. Americans have mixed feelings, to say the least, about the release of Griner over former United States Marine Paul Whelan. United States Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Stefan Hicklin joined us to talk about the Toys for Tots drive that's happening right now in the KMJ parking lot. The Marines have teamed up with Toys for Tots to collect toys for children in need for 75 years. If you want to be a part of this 75th anniversary and you can't make it by, make your donation online, fresno.toysfortots.org. We return to the discussion of Brittany Griner's release, and a alert listener brought up the story of Mark Fogel, a history teacher who was working in Moscow, who allegedly entered Russia with 17 grams of cannabis for medical reasons and is now also being detained by Russian authorities. United States Marine Corps Corporal Jessica Montano is the head coordinator for Marine Corps League Detachment 14 and Toys for Tots in Fresno and Madera. She stopped by to talk more about the Toys for Tots drive, still going on until 6 at Radio City at the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. One of the things that Corporal Montano touched on was local veterans volunteering to help out every year to collect, organize, and distribute toys to kids right here in Fresno and Madera. A Kansas Olive Garden manager told his employees that if they needed to take time off, they might as well go look for another job. The message, shared with employees, read in part, quote, "Our call-offs are occurring at a staggering rate. From now on, if you call off, you might as well go look for another job. We're no longer tolerating any excuse for calling off. If you're sick, you need to come prove it. If your dog died, you need to bring him in so we can see it." Olive Garden has parted ways with this manager. And the second installment of Elon Musk's so-called Twitter files shed light on the company's practices of secretly blacklisting certain tweets and users. Once upon a time, Twitter had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers, but along the way, barriers nevertheless were erected, writes journalist Barry Weiss. That is your trending topics at 5 o'clock for those stories and a lot more. You can get the podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. You can also head over to kmjnow.com, hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find me, but you'll find all kinds of great stuff from the rest of the KMJ team. That includes some of the folks we've got here on Saturdays. And Saturday, of course, we got Auto Shop Talk 7 to 9. Paul Leffler hosts Hometown Heroes starting at 9 a.m. The CGP is back at 10 o'clock. And speaking of podcasts, if you didn't hear last week's CGP, go get that episode. He's got the story of that little boy, Patty. Holy smokes, you guys. You're going to love it. 11 o'clock, Joe and Lisa Basil are having fun with the news of the day. At noon, attorney Mark Capitan is talking with Vincent Riccuti of PR Farms and Enzo Olive Oil, and then the restaurateurs are back. Mike and Pat LaRocca get into the Christmas spirit with some spirits of their own. Catch those shows tomorrow on KMJ, or again, get the podcasts at kmjnow.com. So we were talking about Barry Weiss and the Twitter files, and I shared with you almost every word written in regards to the second dump. I think that it's important to analyze what is going on here, because I am torn, frankly, on how much it matters. The fact that Twitter was shadow banning after all of the insistence, after all of the adamant hand-waving that they were not. And there's a lot of people who went to bat and said, that's not a thing. They're not going to do that. It doesn't benefit them commercially. We get to eat a little crow. And for those of us who believed that Jack Dorsey still had his hand on the controls, shame on us for not seeing corporate nonsense for what it is. They were shadow banning, deliberately, overtly. And it wasn't coming from random low-level moderators. It was coming from the highest points in the company. There's going to continue to be conversation about the First Amendment, in part because it is now a matter of public record that the Joseph Biden for President 2020 campaign reached out to Twitter to ask that certain tweets be deleted. It has also since been revealed that the tweets that are cited in the first edition of the Twitter files that was uploaded by Matt Taibbi, the tweets that were referenced, it wasn't the New York Post story. It was people sharing some of the pictures from that laptop. And to be as delicate as possible, the pictures that they were choosing to share were of Hunter Biden's wedding tackle. I don't know what level of cooperation or coordination Twitter had up until Elon Musk took over with the Biden administration. I have a problem screaming First Amendment when a private entity voluntarily cooperates with notifications from another private entity about something like the undesirable sharing of a political candidate's child's hoo-ha. That's not a First Amendment issue. It's an issue that I think benefits the public to know exists. It's a situation that benefits the public to have a clear understanding of, because it allows us to make a decision about whether or not we want to continue to do business with Twitter. And for most of us, doing business with Twitter just means using Twitter, because most of us aren't giving them any money. I've been on the fence about Twitter for years. I'll be honest, and I've told you guys this before. If not for the job, if not for the need to get in front of you guys and promote stuff like the Toys for Tots drive-through event, to promote stuff like the Afternoon Drive Christmas card exchange, to talk about cool stuff like Christopher Gabriel's interview with Patty, and to expand that beyond what is very frequently the 10 or 15 minutes that I'll get with any one of you. And look, there's holy smokes, am I grateful that some of you guys actually stick with us for a while, like hang out and listen to the station and listen to the show. There's even a couple of people, Lorna Gordon, one of my favorite human beings, who regularly consume the majority of the program on any given day. That's unusual. Frankly, it's unheard of. For the vast majority of you guys, I'm going to get to talk to you for 10 or 15 minutes, because what's going to happen? You're going to get off work. You're going to hop in the car. You're going to kick on KMJ because you want to hear Greg tell you what in the world's wrong on the 180 today. You're going to want to hear Jim Miller tell you what in the world's wrong in Washington, D.C. today. And you're going to want to hear a funny story, or you're going to want to hear about something important or interesting that's happening here at home. And that's where I come in. And then you're going to get home and you're going to turn off your car and you're going to go inside and have dinner and enjoy your family, because that's what people do. And so I've embraced social media as a way to make sure that I'm in touch with people beyond that 10 or 15 minutes that I get with you while you're in the car. If I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't be doing that. And so my ability to get completely outraged about what Twitter is doing is inhibited by my disdain for living my life online. And I've set up my own website. I've got two of them, as a matter of fact. There's drivekmj.com, which, by the way, if you need the address for the Afternoon Drive Christmas card exchange, we've got all the information right up on the main page there at drivekmj.com. And I've got philipteresi.com, which is kind of half blog, half living resume. And I can put whatever I want on those websites. Obviously, within the confines of the law. But I do. I write what I want. I say what I want. I've never been banned. I've never been shadow banned as far as I know. I've never had a problem with the social media provider getting in the way of connecting with you guys. And I'm not a big enough fish to warrant the level of attention that some of these people have garnered. So I don't know if I care that a private company was picking and choosing who got free and open reign on their platform, except for the part where they lied about it. That's the part that's sticking with me, because that dishonesty, it is a betrayal. You told these people you were going to provide them with a certain service, a certain level of access, and you changed the deal. And even if they never gave you one red cent, they contributed to your bottom line by generating buzz, by attracting users, and by providing content. And not being honest about how you're moderating them and how you're limiting them, it is a betrayal. I'm just having a very, very hard time caring. How about you? 490-5858, 800-776-5858. I'll take your comments on this. Are you at all stimulated by the Twitter files, or does it feel to you like kind of a shoulder shrug? Your calls on the way on KMJ.
In Fresno, Highway 41 at East Mountain View, got a really serious accident out there, and it is going to be a while before that area is back to normal. In Madera, southbound 99 at East Almond, disabled vehicle in the center divide causing a bit of a backup. And in Shaver Lake, 168 near Crystal Creek, there is controlled burns in effect there right now, and that comes from CAL FIRE. Next update, 5:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Looking for a new dining and beverage experience? Come check out Genesis Bistro at the northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno, where the chef's cuisine, along with our mixologist's full cocktail and wine bar, are getting people talking. Open for lunch and dinner, make your next meal with friends or family at Genesis Bistro, a one-of-a-kind experience. Also a great place to host a special event or celebration meal. To reserve an event, call 559-314-8284. Are you a talented hairstylist looking for a change? Check out 8028 Salon at Cedar and Nice, where we have open stations available and a move-in special.
Hey guys, it's Philip Teresi. We are doing an encore presentation of the program today. I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, but we've got some great interviews and some really cool conversations off the phones. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Don't call it a best of, an encore presentation of the afternoon drive on KMJ. Hey guys, it's Philip Teresi taking a little time off today. All is well, and I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. But for today, we've got an encore presentation of the show. Some really cool interviews. Stick around, check it out, and I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon on KMJ. Hey, it's Philip. I am off today, and so we're doing an encore presentation of the show. I hate calling it a best of. It just sounds like there's something there. Enjoy the interviews. We talked to some really interesting folks over the past couple of weeks, and we are revisiting those chats while I recuperate. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive on KMJ, an encore presentation. Glad you guys could be here. Sorry I couldn't be. I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon. All is well. I just was not feeling 100% and thought this would be better than 6 hours of bumper music. 4 hours. Oh my God. I'm that sick. I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock on KMJ.
Purchase, you'll receive a complimentary $20 bonus gift card. We've taken the hassle out of the holidays by making this option available online at harrisranch.com or visit us in person, and one of our helpful team members will be happy to assist you in purchasing the gift card that keeps on giving. Some restrictions apply. Visit harrisranch.com for more details.
Need office equipment and technology to move your business forward in today's quickly changing marketplace? Let the experts at locally owned California Business Machines show you how the IRS Section 179 tax code allows you to deduct the entire cost of Kyocera printers, copiers, and document management systems this year. And you'll save even more with a zero-down lease plan and color copies for as low as an incredible 3 cents per page. But the deadline for these savings is firm, December 31st, 2022. So, if a new copier, printer, and document management system makes sense for your business, call the Kyocera experts at California Business Machines, serving the Central Valley for 6 decades with offices in Fresno and Visalia.
Hello, I'm Susie Santiano at California Business Machines. If you're interested in saving 100% on a Kyocera copier, give me a call at 225-5574 or visit us online at cbmsolution.com. Thank you.
Cumulus Radio in Fresno is looking to hire an account executive to represent our radio brands and digital platforms. If you have a background in marketing and advertising and have a passion for helping local businesses grow their footprint in our market, we may be a good fit for you. You will work directly with local clients and help diversify their marketing initiatives across various organized platforms. The ideal candidate will be creative, social media savvy, progressive digital mentality, and fun to work with. Please send your resume to General Sales Manager Melissa Del Carlo at melissa.delcarlo@cumulus.com. Cumulus Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Rolling through your 5 o'clock hour on a Friday afternoon, but you knew that. It's the afternoon drive on KMJ. You probably knew that too. The Toys for Tots drive-through event is underway right now, right here. KMJ Studios, southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. We got a bunch of Marines hanging out, ready to accept your new unwrapped toy or a cash or check donation. If you're not going to be able to join us in person, head over to fresno.toysfortots.org, and that is spelled out, by the way, F-O-R. fresno.toysfortots.org. You can make donations online. But if you're in the mood to do a little shopping, you want to swing by, got about 35 minutes until the Marines pack it up, and new unwrapped toys are very much appreciated, especially the age range of 8 to 12, both boys and girls, and anything you can think of. Stuffed animals, microscopes, gamer gear, all that stuff is going to be very, very welcome. And again, the Marines are going to be really pleased to see you. They're downstairs. I'm upstairs, and a coda to the conversation about Twitter and whether or not it's worth it. Elton John announced he's quitting Twitter. He did tweet, of course he did, a short statement. Elton John said, quote, "All my life I've tried to use music to bring people together, yet it saddens me to see how misinformation is now being used to divide our world. I've decided to no longer use Twitter given their recent change in policy, which will allow misinformation to flourish unchecked." This is the latest in a series. Whoopi Goldberg, I know you guys are heartbroken. Shonda Rhimes, Jack White, Trent Reznor, and Toni Braxton are some of the other celebrities who have bailed out on the social media site. I'm not quitting Twitter. Not yet. Not yet. I still get enough out of it because I do get good feedback. There's a couple of folks, top of mind, Lorna Spicoli. There's a couple other folks that check in on Twitter on the regular. And I appreciate their contributions, and so I feel like it's a good channel to keep open. I will commit to you that if Twitter turns into something antithetical to who I am, if it just turns into a bunch of scumbags and Nazis, I will leave. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think by many millions of users, Twitter has been taken over by hate. It's always been a destination for crazy. And that's part of what made it fun, especially in the early days. You got some weird stuff out of it. And I dig that. But I am at a point where I'm comfortable saying if they aren't going to moderate out hatred, if they aren't going to moderate out anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia, misogyny, I'm out of there. And I'm not talking about some comedian making a dumb joke. I don't need Kevin Hart's head on a pike because he said something that might have been misogynistic or homophobic as a joke on Twitter 15 years ago. But if every time I log on, I just see bile, I'll bail. I don't know if I'll bother announcing it. That's the other thing, is that the big Twitter quit announcement, it feels very needy. And if I'm going to leave Twitter, it's not going to be neediness. It's going to be that I just don't believe that they represent anything of value, or that the value doesn't outweigh the negativity. But I'm not there yet. I am still cautiously optimistic that Elon Musk is going to figure it out, and we're going to see a renaissance in free speech. That's what he promised us, right? Just a minute here before we break for news with Jim Miller. This coming by way of the national desk and our news partner, Fox 26 News. A federal judge in Chicago has ruled that a potential nationwide class action lawsuit can proceed against the makers of TGI Fridays mozzarella snack sticks, but not against the restaurant chain that shares the same name. The lawsuit, filed by a woman named Amy Joseph, claims that TGI Fridays packaged cheese snacks, the stuff that you'll find in the freezer at the grocery store, they're labeled mozzarella sticks, but they don't contain any mozzarella. They're all cheddar. And the only way you can learn that is by reading the fine print on the back of the product package. Ms. Joseph had accused both TGI Fridays, Inc. and the makers of the cheese sticks, InVenture Foods Incorporated, of misleading customers with the packaging label. Customers wouldn't pay as much or buy as much of the product were it labeled accurately, claims Ms. Joseph. Monday, U.S. District Judge Robert Dow denied a motion from InVenture Foods to dismiss the lawsuit. Judge Dow did, however, grant TGI Friday, the restaurant chain's request to be removed as a defendant in the case, as he found that the chain restaurant's only involvement in the mozzarella sticks product was to be as a licensor of their name. I am a couple of years past pizza rolls and Hot Pockets and microwave mozzarella sticks. And boy, oh boy, am I glad. It's not good for you. I don't care what it's made out of. It's not good for you. It has never, ever in my life occurred to me to examine the ingredients list. I never thought that it was real, fresh Italian mozzarella. I always knew it was going to be some kind of rubbery gunk that was only briefly edible in the few moments between when it comes out of the oven, hotter than an ejection from Mauna Loa, and when it cools back to being a pencil eraser. So I hope she makes some money off of it. Does anybody buying microwave mozzarella sticks really care whether or not it's actually mozzarella?
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Massive landslide was caught on camera this morning along the coastline in Los Angeles County. About a 200-foot piece of rock detached from a cliff in Palo Verde Estates, according to the LA County Fire Department. As seen on video, the rocks and dirt nearly buried a truck that was parked on the beach below. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. As of the latest, crews are checking the cliff stability, but are concerned about the forecasted rain this weekend that can lead to more landslides. For safety safety reasons, the beach has been closed. An investigation is underway after a woman hit by a car in Selma. Police say the crash happened yesterday near the intersection of Floral Avenue and Wright Street. The woman taken to the hospital. The driver stayed to speak with investigators. Authorities said drugs and alcohol do not appear to be factors in this crash. The already busy respiratory illness season is putting a strain on some medication supplies. ABC's Brian Clark has more.
The so-called triple-demic of the flu, RSV, and COVID-19 is concerning parents about possible medication shortages. ABC medical contributor Dr. John Brownstein says this demand was not expected.
This is why it can be frustrating, but you can shop around. They are available. It just might take a little bit of time.
He suggests talking to a healthcare provider about possible alternatives.
There's online options like GoodRx where you could potentially find these prescriptions, and you just may have to wait a day or two for restocking.
While many medications simply need to be restocked, there is an actual shortage of the antibiotic, amoxicillin. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Jim De La Vega.
Today we'll see a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 58 degrees. Tonight a few showers mainly north of Fresno County with a low in the mid-40s. A strong system will bring rain and mountain snow early Saturday morning through the weekend. Freezing temperatures are likely for much of next week. For KMJ, I'm Jim De La Vega from the Fox 26 Weather Center.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Jim. Fresno westbound 180 at Marks on the on-ramp. There is a collision, possible injuries being reported. In Carruthers on Highway 41 at East Mountain View, got a serious injury accident, and it's going to be a while before that is completely cleared up. In Porterville, northbound 65 at West Teapot Dome Avenue, disabled vehicle causing a hazard. Next update, 547. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Make the season bright with the $550,000 Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway. Come out on Friday, December 23rd for the grand finale to win your share of $90,000 cash only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for healthcare. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. And it's true, the typical family switching to MediShare saves $500 or more a month, which is obviously huge for a lot of people. But what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. Double. There are 400,000 members. They've shared over $4 billion in medical bills. And it really is a great community, too. People encourage and pray for each other. And here's the thing. If you join MediShare Complete right now, they'll waive your new member fees and you'll save an additional 10% off all of 2023. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month of next year, but it's a very limited time offer. You have to sign up before December 31st. Great savings, great health care. Find out more. Call now. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
COVID vaccines just got a big update because updated vaccines now protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron, and everyone 5 and older can get one.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you want to be part of transforming your community? Do you want to help ensure that money for Fresno County's transportation system is spent effectively? Then you should join the Measure C Citizen Oversight Committee. The committee is a special opportunity to take a leadership role in your community. You'll join other local leaders and give your input on Measure C's plans, programs, audits, and projects, and make sure that funding is spent as promised to the public. Apply today at MeasureC.com. Measure C. Promises made, promises kept.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Commercial Radiator, your full-service repair shop for large industrial radiators, ag equipment, or to keep your fleet on the road. That's Commercial Radiator.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention parents with a child diagnosed with autism or severe ADHD. A recent congressional study found dangerously high levels of toxic heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic in many popular baby food brands. Brands such as Gerber, Plum Organics, Beech-Nut, Walmart, and more. Some contain toxic metals 200 times the maximum safe levels set by the FDA. Heavy metals in baby food are known to be severe neurotoxins, and exposure to them at a young age can cause lifelong brain damage and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you fed baby food to your child and they were later diagnosed with autism, autism spectrum disorders, or ADHD, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call today for your free consultation. 800-728-1993. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-728-1993. That's 800-728-1993. Again, 800-728-1993.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
You like to talk, so it shouldn't be a problem.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Today is the day the Toys for Tots drive-through event is underway right here at KMJ, 1071 West Shaw Avenue, Fresno 93711. It's the southwest corner of Palm and Shaw. We're catty corner from Fig Garden Village, right across Shaw from Honey Baked Ham. You can access the parking lot from Shaw, from Palm, or from Harrison, which is the side street due west of the building. And at this time, might not be a bad way to get in. To swing by and see the United States Marine Corps League Detachment 14, and all the volunteers with Toys for Tots. They're out there collecting your donations of new unwrapped toys. Cash and check are also gratefully welcome. And you got about 20, 25 minutes to get down here still. We'd love to see you before 6 o'clock. Come on by and be a part of Toys for Tots in its 75th year. And don't forget, Toys for Tots serves the kids in our community. So when you donate to Fresno Madera Toys for Tots, your toys and your donations stay right here. As a matter of fact, they even have a division in terms of Fresno and Madera, just to keep the accounting clean. That's how tight they run this thing, and that's no surprise because Toys for Tots is run by the United States Marine Corps. If you want to know more about it, if you want to donate online, go to fresno.toysfortots.org. Again, that's spelled out F-O-R. fresno.toysfortots.org. You can make donations online. If you're not going to make it, but you do have a toy you want to donate, they'll also have details about where you can go after we close up shop here. Like I said, about 20, 25 minutes at Radio City. But if you could make it, we would love to see you. And tonight will be a great night. It's a Friday night. You can head over after you drop off your toy, grab some dinner at Fig Garden Village, and go get in line and do Christmas Tree Lane. So here's a story that's going to have a whole bunch of you going, well, no kidding. Police in Portland, Oregon have arrested 4 people during a raid at a store that was open and illegally selling psychedelic mushrooms. If you didn't see this, back in 2020, Oregon became the first state in the country to legalize the use of psilocybin for people 21 and older in a controlled therapeutic environment under the supervision of trained facilitators. I'm not sure if this is something that I would do, but I have heard from folks who have experimented with this as a therapeutic that it can be extremely effective, dealing with grief, dealing with trauma, dealing with PTSD. Now, I am not a doctor. Let me emphasize that again. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I have no training in psychology. Do not take medical advice from disc jockeys, okay? Please. But anecdotally, I have heard people say that there is some positive effect from microdosing this stuff in a very controlled, professionally guided environment. The ballot measure that was approved in Oregon, and approved comfortably, 56% of voters gave the thumbs up to, again, this very specific 21 and older therapeutic environment under supervision of trained facilitators thing. It did not allow for retail sale. And by the way, that state level legalization, it's still illegal federally, but that state level legalization doesn't even take effect until next month. Enter the Shroom House. They started advertising their grand opening on social media last month. And they had opened up to tremendous interest from the public. The superintendent of the building where Shroom House was located told Oregon television station KOIN that he thought the business was only going to last a couple of weeks before getting shut down. But when the story broke that they were open, parking disappeared overnight. There were lines around the building that went for a block. Shroom House allegedly had been selling magic mushrooms. Having announced its grand opening, they actually started talking about opening this shop on Twitter back in October. Now, Colorado has also passed a measure legalizing psychedelic mushrooms. Again, drugs are still federally illegal. So what happened here, I think, is a pretty obvious series of events for people illegally selling a controlled substance that even at the state level is not meant for a retail or recreational sale. The police served a search warrant at the retail location, again, called the Shroom House, all about the subtlety here, out in the Northwest District neighborhood. Investigators seized about 22 pounds of suspected mushrooms. And these seized drugs were field tested and tested positive for psilocybin. So they're sending the 22 pounds of mushrooms off to the Oregon State Police Lab in order to confirm that they got what they got. They also picked up $13,000 in cash, and 32-year-old Steve Tachi Jr., 32-year-old Jeremiah Geronimo, both booked into the Multnomah County Detention Center on suspicion of 10 counts each of money laundering, 10 counts each of unlawful delivery of a controlled substance within 1,000 feet of a school. You morons. There were 2 other men cited for alleged felony delivery of psilocybin. At this point, it's unclear if the boneheads that hatched this scheme had lawyers to comment on the allegations. But the Oregon Secretary of State has records showing Mr. Tachi as the owner of a company operating the business at that location. So they started talking about doing this on social media publicly at the end of October. They had lines around the block for at least a week. They got national media attention for what they were doing. The law wasn't in effect for this extremely controlled therapeutic circumstance, and there was never an allowance for retail sale. They need to stop doing drugs, and they need to learn to read. Stupid. I'll share the link to the story on social media at Drive KMJ if you want to check it out. Just a quick one here. Humberto Corona de Valos picked up a $20 100X lottery scratcher ticket at the Double D Mini Mart on Houston Avenue, east of Mooney and Visalia. And it turned out to be the second largest prize possible on a scratcher in the state of California. He dropped $20 on that scratcher and won $5 million. The store gets $25,000 bonus for the sale. And the gentleman is one of 8 winners announced, with others coming from L.A., San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo. Those others won between $1 and $5 million from their 100X scratchers. I never get better than $5. Like once or twice I've gotten $40. I've never hit big on a scratcher. Never hit big on any of them. How am I supposed to fund my retirement?
Final check of traffic on this Friday evening. Westbound 180 at the 99. Got a collision reported there. Westbound 180 just east of Marks. Another crash being reported. Miniwawa in Clovis, just south of Copper. We have an injury accident in Dinuba. Avenue 378 at Road 60. A couple of vehicles involved in an injury accident. Palm and Shaw, a little backed up as people come off of enjoying Christmas tree lane. So there will be a little bit of backup. Police is there to get you through it, but it's a good idea. Just go check it out. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Make the season bright with the $550,000 Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway. Come out.
Hey, guys. Josh mentioned that a couple of folks popped up and were concerned that you heard me cutting liners about a encore presentation and being back tomorrow at 2. I'll tell you guys now, I've been fighting a cold for about 3 days now. I'm not in terrible shape. It's not coronavirus. It's I think that my kid just brought home a good old-fashioned public school case of the blahs. I'm okay. But I just in case I got to take Monday off, we're getting a best of show ready. But I'm not sure I'm going to take Monday off. If I recoup this weekend, I'll be here live. But we just didn't want to take a chance and not have stuff ready to go. We do have a really great best of show ready now, and thank you to Joshua Weekly for making that happen. But yeah, nothing wild and crazy. I'm not feeling 100%. So rather than, have poor Blake coming in to do a 4-hour talk show, I thought that it would be prudent and kind of me to make sure I had something in the can. Anyways, all is well. Thank you for your concern. And why aren't you here donating toys?
Men's Clinic can do to help that bedroom touchdown. Pacific Men's Clinic safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
This is Christina Musan. I am having the best sleep thanks to the Design Studio by Furniture City. I was shopping for furniture when I mentioned that my neck hurt because I was having trouble with the pillow on my bed. The Design Studio carries a full line of Tempur-Pedic. The pillow is like butter. I know my next bed is Tempur-Pedic. Check out the extensive Tempur-Pedic line at the Design Studio by Furniture City in the former Osh building at Blackstone and Barstow in Fresno.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions.
Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Congratulations to KMJ's Morning News with Christopher Gabriel and Matt Ottstadt on winning the Business Journal's Award for Best Morning Show for a 6th consecutive year.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
Rolling up on 6 o'clock on your afternoon drive. It is News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Thank you for hanging out this afternoon. The Toys for Tots drive-through event at the Radio City parking lot is starting to wind down. They're not quite gone yet. So if you're on your way, get here quick. And if you can't join us today, head to fresno.toysfortots.org. They got a list of locations where you'll be able to drop off your new unwrapped toys after we wrap things up this afternoon. If you want to make a donation, you can do that again, fresno.toysfortots.org, and it's F-O-R. It's spelled out, toysfortots.org. I've got the link up on social media as well at Drive KMJ, just to make it as easy as humanly possible. I want to thank Staff Sergeant Stefan Hicklin and Corporal Jessica Montano for coming up and hanging out with me a little bit this afternoon. Both Marines, both part of Toys for Tots, and both spending all day hanging out here collecting your donations. Just two incredible human beings and doing something out of the kindness of their hearts to help kids in our community. If you want to be a part of that, again, we're almost wrapped up today, but fresno.toysfortots.org will have locations for you to drop off toys. And even if you can't be a part of the Radio City event, I want you to participate in this because it is a big deal and it does make a difference. And it stays right here in our community. These are kids who wouldn't otherwise have a Christmas sometimes. And you get to fix that. You get to be the hero. That's a pretty cool thing. Now, we've got the Toys for Tots. It's Friday, and you didn't pay. Excuse me. We've got the afternoon drive Christmas card exchange underway now. And I would love to get a Christmas card from you. As a matter of fact, I love it so much. If you send me a Christmas card, I'm going to send one right back. We've got a brand new design. If you want to see it up close, I'm waving it at the people on YouTube. You want to see it up close? Send me a Christmas card. It's just that easy. Drop it in the mail. Attention, KMJ's Afternoon Drive, 1071 West Shaw Avenue, Fresno, California, 93711. If you missed any part of that address and for some reason you can't Google it, go to drivekmj.com. It explains the very, very simple rules of mail me a Christmas card and I'll mail one back right there at drivekmj.com. But we are already up and rolling. We've got a handful of Christmas cards already. And I'd love to see a wall full of Christmas cards from you guys. We ordered a bunch of brand new ones just for this year, just for you guys. And I'm excited to share them with you. So be a part of the Afternoon Drive Christmas card exchange. That is happening now and will continue until we run out or until we get to the new year. 1071 West Shaw Avenue, Fresno, California, 93711. Yeah. I think that'll do it. I'm going to get out of here. The great one, Mark Levin, is on the way. Before that, we'll hear from our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies, and we'll get an update of headlines from the ABC Newsroom. Thank you guys for your calls, for your time, for your donations to Toys for Tots. I'll be back with you Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Worldwide, listen to us at kmjnow.com. Have a great weekend. Be safe.